on SiriusXM.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back, stick handles to the backhand, moves in front, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM. The world's most thrilling league is now in the palm of your hand. Hear every English Premier League match all season long on the SiriusXM app. Just search for your favorite team.
Atmosphere in Buffalo.
Yeah, no, it's going to be good. I mean, I know we get a lot of fans here, and it's noticeable for sure. I think the atmosphere is going to be really good. Like I said, we got to be ready to go here at the start of the game. All the little things will matter here early on in the game.
Craig, how do you think this team has adapted to your vision going into the season and over the course of the season and positioned itself going into the postseason?
Yeah, I think that you're always, trying to work on your identity, and that hasn't stopped throughout the season. It's always something we focused on, and how we want to play the game with our identity. I think, our guys have done a good job of it. Yeah, there's times where it gets off track for sure, and you got to get them refocused and get them back in, dialed back in. So, it was a good example the other night in Carolina. That team really pressures you in the first period more, as much as any team in the league, and the shot volume and just there's no room. But we weathered the storm. We come out of the period winning 1-0. I mean, that's a big part of the identity is the little things we did well, blocking the shots, and our goalie made saves, but we didn't give him second and third opportunities, and we did a good job of that. So yeah, I think we're in a good spot, but we got to keep making sure we're pounding away at it and keep working on it, and be ready to go. But we're just focused on tonight's game.
What's your level of concern that OEL won't be able to play game one?
That's a good question. Right now, I mean, I expect him to play, but you never know. He's tough, so he'll play through things, and if he's not in the lineup, somebody else is going to have to step up. That's just the bottom line. That's part of playoffs.
So the injury update is Kampf and McCabe maybe Thursday night could play. OEL, as you heard, starting the playoffs, maybe not. Mermis has looked good so far. I don't know if he's around when McCabe comes back, but nonetheless, for depth, he's there, right?
So you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah.
And again, he's not going to tip his hand, and I'm sure he's a little bit concerned on the status of some of the defensemen. And again, I think Kampf, he's been serviceable too, but again, it's an opportunity for somebody else to sort of show what they can do. And I think Lawton, with a little bit of a runway, has sort of elevated his game. Holmberg as well has been playing good, and Robertson has shown that he can add some offense and some flair in that middle six role as well too. So ideally, yes, for this team to win a Stanley Cup, you're going to need McCabe, you're going to need OEL, you're going to you can't have Mermis. I know he's been great, but you got to have Meyer sort of be your outside looking in. He's got to be your 6/7. You can't rely on him playing 19, 22 minutes a night. The matchups are going to be too heavy against some other teams. So yes, you want your guys back, but there's other teams that are going through it right now. You're looking at the Edmonton Oilers. Matthias Ekholm's going to be out, guarantee minimum that first round. You have Draisaitl banged up, McDavid banged up. So it's not exclusive to the Toronto Maple Leafs, but it's something that's a cause for concern if it bleeds into that first round of the playoffs.
I'm going to tie in what you just said with something else, with what Berube said. So, somebody would have to step up. So, you start the playoffs with all these plans, and here's what should happen. And then, reality takes over and something develops. If you go back to when the playoffs started last year, the Edmonton Oilers blue line was suspect. And by the end of it, it was one of the strengths of the team. Is there any component on this Leaf team that you could look at now that maybe people aren't exactly enamored with or thrilled about, but could actually develop into something really positive?
So you mean are you maybe alluding to like a Pacioretty coming in and having a good playoffs?
Something like that, like something that we're just concentrating on the positives and the core players, but sometimes things develop, as you know.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be some storylines, right? And again, I can look at a player like Scott Laughton, he is you look in the dictionary, third-line center, he is that, and that's what he's been for the last 7-8 years with the Philadelphia Flyers. And we talked about earlier and often about sort of the issues of coming home and having to deal with tickets and fans. He is, I think I've counted, he's got more cross-checks than goals, but he is a guy that can elevate his game come playoffs. He plays that playoff-style hockey, and I could see him with a blank slate starting fresh, being a difference maker. Same thing with Bobby McMahon. A lot of teams have been miscalculating how much speed he has. So, yes, we know about the Big Four. We know about the potential of Nyes, but, you're listening to like a Morgan Riley describe Domi. He's a guy that near the end of the season starts to get the juices flowing, starts to elevate. So there's many guys now that have sort of been those tertiary storylines that I can see having big series and having just based on the matchups, right? Holmberg has been dominating some lines just based on the matchup of him being in that bottom six. So, but them, beating the Ottawa Senators potentially in 5 games. How is that going to happen? Austin Matthews having 6 goals, Mitch Marner having 10 points in those 5 games, William Nylander having 2 game-winning goals, and John Tavares, having his B-level game raised. That's going to be the main factors in them having success. But in every team that has success in the playoffs, there's always those unsung heroes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously your best players have to be your best players, but at times, and it could be a break point in the series, just that moment when somebody else has to do it, they do it, that's when you're going to have a good run.
Right, and my prediction, we've seen Simone Benoit go for a skate oftentimes. Like, what do you do? He's going to do that. It's going to go either in the net or it's going to hit a leg and a rebound, and you're going to see, Holmberg get the rebound. I'm predicting that. Please write that down or please mark that.
Okay, Benoit and that's Holmberg, what it's
about. Okay. Game winner. Yeah. Game 9. Yeah, but
oh my.
But that's what the playoffs is about. And again, it hasn't been the same storyline all 80 games. There's been different guys that have different moments, right? Stolar. Wall. We've talked about Robertson coming in multiple times and having multiple point games. Is he ready to break? Domi, right? Finally, he's in the top 6 and looks like he's going to be a constant there. Steve Lorentz, where's that goal scoring prowess been, right? And so there's been all these different storylines, and I think that's going to continue, going into the next couple of weeks.
Okay, good. We're going to save that and replay it when we do our first playoff game. Let's veer off to the Buffalo Sabres, who at 77 points are not in the basement in the East. That belongs to the Boston Bruins. They could still get there, but recently they're 6-3-1. Their goal differential, which is kind of impressive for a team that low, is only minus 17. That's not bad. They're surrounded by minus 53, minus 44, minus 49, so that's the best of a bad lot. Don't know what to expect out of them tonight, and long since eliminated, this could go any way.
Yeah, this is the team that can put the puck in the net, and they have some guys that are big, scoring threats, right? Tage Thompson, you're going to see that rocket tonight. He's got 44 goals in the 74 games that he's played this year. Alex Tuch scored 35 goals. You're looking at a guy like J.J. Paterka as well, and Zucker, right? So they have some guys that can, really skate and be difference makers on the offense. So if I'm Toronto, it's, you got to get the puck in below the dots. You got to get a cycle play. You got to establish offense, and you have to smother this Buffalo Sabres team. They are fragile. They've had multiple games where they've given up leads in the third period. So if I'm Toronto, just come out and just try to pressure. And I don't think they're going to be sitting back, right? There's a lot of guys playing, like you mentioned. Austin Matthews for 400 goals. Marner's, flirting with 100 points. Nyes needs 30 goals. So I can see a really, really good start. But this Buffalo Sabres team is just one of those teams that you can't necessarily blame the goaltending. We UPL is, with a 320 save percentage, but James Reimer has sort of been the guy the last couple weeks too. He's been playing good. He's at a 908 save percentage in his last 5 starts. So again, it's a team that is, they're making a push, but I think as they've been the last 2-3 years, a little bit too little too late. They just get a little bit of optimism to say, hey, you know what, maybe next year is our year, but I think they need to make some changes in the offseason just to be a little bit more of a better competitor in this tight Atlantic division.
And their playoff drought is so lengthy that they can't say, well, wait till the draft, because in this particular case, they're seeded 7th going into the lottery, and if they were to win, well, they could draft a defenseman. But I don't think they need any young defensemen.
they can draft a franchise center and then, trade him away, right? Is it too soon to talk about the Jack Eichel trade? But I think I was in the league last time they were in the playoffs. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. We're not here to make fun. But again, it's just, if you want an exercise, just go and look at the players that they've traded away over the last 5 years. And it's a roster that would probably compete with this roster. So the one thing I'll tell you, my brother played there. It's a blue-collar city. They will come out and support in droves, and all you have to do is come out and compete. They have an amazing rink. Buffalo, New York, yes, it's a snowy town, but guys love living there. You just have to find a way to get over this rut. And, again, a lot of people want to play for the Buffalo Bills. It's one of the marquee markets in the NFL. If you have a little bit more consistency, this could be, a potentially great market to play for in the NHL.
Always scary when the droves come out.
Better than the drones, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
That's right. Well, much more legal than the drones, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the Sabres have, for power play, 19th in the league. They're 19%, 23rd in the league. Penalty kill is 25th in the league, so something for the Leafs to take advantage of. We'll step out, set up the opening faceoff for you next. This is Leafs Game Night on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
It's me, your creaky floor. Annoying, aren't I? Not my fault. The contractor built me poorly, so I make these noises when someone steps on me. That's what happens when you cut corners. Oh, you think I'm annoying now? Wait till one of my panels comes off.
Make it right. Make it Rona. Rona Week is on now. Get 25% off on select Monocera vinyl flooring. Conditions apply. Details in store and more offers at Rona.ca.
Huh, look at that. There's a chip in your windshield. Good thing the experts at Speedy Glass can fix it, saving you from needing a full windshield replacement later. At Speedy Glass, our quality repairs are done in less than an hour without ever compromising on quality. Plus, it's free if you're insured. We'll even submit your insurance claim so you don't have to. It's easy. Just book an appointment today at speedyglass.ca. Details and conditions at speedyglass.ca.
Speedy Glass Repair. Speedy Glass Replace.
Your game has never looked better. Metro Golf Sportsplex is the first in North America to offer the new TrackMan Virtual Golf 3 Simulator. The evolution of TrackMan's industry-leading graphics engine, Virtual Golf 3 has replicated the world's most iconic courses to a T. More than unbelievable graphics, Virtual Golf 3 has 3D audio technology for a fully immersive experience. Play TrackMan's new Virtual Golf 3 at Metro Golf Sportsplex. On Milner, just a short drive and 9-iron from McCowan in the 401.
Ooh, nice. Air Canada has a worldwide sale.
Wow, look at this deal to the Philippines.
Nice. Let's book it.
But wait, Naples is also a steal. Savings, seafood, and sun?
You want sun? There's a hot deal to Mexico.
And even hotter to Yellowknife.
Nice. But I thought you wanted tropical hot. You're all over the map.
Well, yeah, we've got over 180 destinations to choose from.
Saving on every single destination. Nice. Hurry, book at aircanada.com or contact your travel agent. Conditions apply. Air Canada. Nice travels.
Well, many things to play for tonight. There's the division title and home ice in at least the first two rounds. Mitch Marner going for 100 points. Austin Matthews, 400 career goals. The interesting thing about all that is all of it should happen naturally over the next two games. The question for now is, will it happen tonight? Guy, will it happen tonight? Well, let's find out. Molson Canadian Leafs hockey starts now.
It's time for Molson Canadian Leafs hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. The Leafs live here.
Oh, yes, they do. Welcome to Molson Canadian Leafs hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. The lineup goes like this. Matthews centering Marner and Nyes. Tavares centering Nylander and Domi. Holmberg centering Robertson and McMahon. Lawton centering Yarncroke and Lorenz on the blue line. Riley Myers, Benoit Tanev, Mermis, and Carlos Stolar starts in goal. So let's go to the headliner. Domi on the left side of that second line. Stu, what do you think?
Well, he looked like he's starting to build a little bit of chemistry with John Tavares and William Nylander. A beautiful assist, one of his two last game versus the Carolina Hurricanes. He has great vision, and I think it's a good complementary piece to William Nylander, who gets sort of lost in those soft areas. So he's a great facilitator of the puck, and I could see him having a big night and continued chemistry going into the playoffs. So I think that's great because now Bobby McMahon, I think, is going to be a little bit more effective on that third line where he can sort of drive the play with his legs and get it on the forecheck and find a Nick Robertson. And Holmberg, I think, has been great as well, too. So that third line, I could see maybe rounding out to getting some chemistry to be a little bit more of a staple going into the playoffs. And Lawton, again, he's starting to find his game. Almost scored shorthanded against the Hurricanes. Lorentz has been who he is as well, and same thing with Jan Krok. So a lot of balance. That's sort of been the key when you see guys moving up and down. But I think you're now starting to see what this lineup is going to shape up to be for the playoffs next week.
I'm interested in your opinion on this. What is the difference on the third line when Holmberg is there or when Domi is there?
I think Holmberg is just a natural center, right? And when he's up in the top six, he's on the wing, and he sort of gets, a little bit out-muscled there, where he has a lot of speed. And he's like McMahon, where a lot of guys have a tough time tracking him. When he gets speed with that puck, he can get lost behind D. He can get in and really drive the play. So I think him in that bottom six, I think the matchups, he's a naturally talented guy, but he's almost like a line 3, 2.5, 3. He's in that middle of second and third, and I think his talent really shines just with the matchups when he's in that bottom six as opposed to the top six. But Domi, he's a facilitator, and he can make high-end skill plays, and I could see him to continue to find Tavares and Nylander for scoring chances, and they're a threat with him every single shift.
And the defense is just really patchwork without two of them there, but played pretty good against Carolina, right?
Yeah, and, Carlo has come as advertised, where he's just a shutdown machine. He's big, he's long, and, he gets that puck out, too. Riley's elevating. 7 assists his last 10 games. He had 3 assists last game as well. He's starting to hit his strides as well. And Benoit is, he's been a pleasant surprise with extended minutes, playing physical, rushing the puck, having a good gap, and just sort of being a utility knife back there as well. And we all know about Tanev, and he's a shot blocking machine. So it's not sexy, right? You're going to miss OEL, you're going to miss McKay, but they're getting the job done with the system, and they're playing the system to a T, all regardless of who's in that lineup on a nightly basis.
Well, game 81, and yet another test for Leaf consistency, just because, as you saw in the Montreal-Chicago game last night, Habs get that 2-0 lead. Their new rookie player was dynamite, and then all of a sudden the Hawks took over and won that game, albeit on a shootout, but it cost the Habs. I mean, the Leafs really have to be careful here, don't they?
Yes, let's just hope that the refs don't lose sight of the puck tonight like they did.
That was wicked. I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Where do they think it went? Where do you think they went? It went in his mask? He ate it? Like, what's going on? What's going on, guy? But again, there's a lot to play for, and they've learned a lot of lessons of the past. So I predict a really hot start for Toronto. I think they're going to come out of the gates gangbusters and really push the pace, and I could see them scoring an early one.
League tried to register the puck name as Waldo, so then you would ask the question, where's Waldo? Run into trademark problems. We're going to step out. The opening faceoff is next. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeart Radio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
The NFL Draft is coming, and the place for the latest information is SiriusXM NFL Radio.
This guy's decision-making is impressive.
Our experts will tell you what your team needs.
They've got to get better around Geno Smith.
And which players will make an impact.
Cleveland, they might already say the number one's going to be Ward, so we got to be prepared. Who do we like it to the most?
SiriusXM NFL Radio gets you ready for the NFL Draft on Channel 88 in the car and on the SiriusXM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
December 15th, Vancouver Canucks were in the playoffs. And this is when they had that big controversy going on. So they had to do something about it. And they did do something about it. Well, now they're not in the playoffs. You know what? They're not even really close anymore. This is the most absurd season falling apart. The most disappointing team this season of the 32 are the Vancouver Canucks.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
General manager of the Winnipeg Jets, Kevin Cheveldayoff. What would finishing first overall mean to the organization, Kevin?
Well, I think anytime that, you can finish in an area where you're getting recognized, it's special. But again, the important thing for us is process. Is when we buy into playing the way we need to play, then, we feel comfortable that we'll win more games than not. And then you let the chips fall where they may.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Right side to Wilson, centered up. Ovechkin has it. He scores! He scores! Alex Ovechkin scores
congratulations to Alexander Ovechkin. Welcome to Hockey Immortality from everyone at SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM NHL Network Radio puts you on the ice.
If the Rangers get into the playoffs, Igor Shesterkin should win the Hart Trophy, because what is going on in front of him is an absolute miracle. They're within a mile of this playoff run.
The reason you are inconsistent is because you're consistently inconsistent. That's why they are not Tampa, Florida, Washington. I'm not buying it. What's that song? I won't be fooled again.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91.
Hey, Jim Rome here. What's cracking?
Hi.
Hope you're enjoying the game, and when you're not taking in a game, find us on Sirius Channel 161, XM Channel 206. In fact, we'll be there every weekday afternoon, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. If you've got something you want to break down from this game, you know where to find us. Just make sure you have it taken, don't suck.
Step your game up.
That has never changed. In fact, the show has never changed. We're just back home, and it's great to be there. Sirius 161, XM 206. See you there.
It's soccer's most thrilling league.
Only the Premier League can make you feel like this.
And now every match is on the SiriusXM app.
Can you believe it?
From the title race.
This is remarkable.
Keeps this title charge on track, surely. To the relegation fight.
The impossible may still be possible.
Hear every English Premier League match on SiriusXM FC 157 and the SiriusXM app. Just search for your favorite club.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Tonight will clinch their first ever Atlantic Division title as the Leafs defend the goal to the right and the Sabres to the left, and there are a lot of Leaf fans at KeyBank Center, and they're being heard already as we get an offside at the Toronto blue line. And the face-off in the Leaf zone will be brought to you by Alpine Credits. You own your own home and need a loan, Alpine Credits can help. Get approved at alpinecredits.ca. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, who's never beaten the Maple Leafs, 0-4-1, 4.97. His goals against average. Anthony Stolarz, and this is probably as big a testament, if you will, that he will start game one in the postseason, as Domi tries to center in front of the net for Nylander, and that was knocked away, and the Sabres bring it back at center ice and play it down into the Leaf end, courtesy Connor Clifton. Hit there against Canavin along the boards. Canavin punching it off his skate. It goes high into the near corner. Sabres get there first, played by Clifton back to the blue line. He gets it returned, sharp angle try, missed the net, and it comes all the way back to the left point, and Bowen Byram keeps the puck in there. Benoit chasing his man, and Domi has stolen it, but he gives the puck away. Jason Zucker with a long shot, and that was easily handled by Stolarz. Leafs get it out at center, but not in deep, and now Tavares will regroup it as the Leafs are getting a change in here to start here in the first period. A lot of things on the line. The biggest one is clinching first place and a showdown then with the Ottawa Senators. But Mitch Marner, Matthew Nyes, Austin Matthews all have opportunities to kind of ring up some memorable numbers as a pass in front knocked away by the Maple Leafs and quickly played ahead. Nicely fed onto Lawton on the left wing for Riley, but it was in behind him. And the Sabres will go back to recover the loose puck. Buffalo back in their own zone with Jack Quinn dropping it off. Bernard Docker goes to his defense partner. A lead pass goes down into the Toronto zone. Quickly back of the net is Dakota Mermis, who I thought played pretty soundly the other night in his first game for the Leafs in a long while. Played out into the center ice area and down into the Toronto zone. McMahon one-hands it over on the far side. Played off the boards by Brandon Carlo to center. Leafs are getting a change started again. Sabres will ring the boards with it, and out of the net is Stolarz. Play it back in for Carlo, who steps behind the net. Matthews turning back in his own zone. Carlo starts out with a pass on the left wing, deflected by Marner down into the offensive zone. Dives into the forecheck, but it comes around on the left wing boards, and Zach Benson gets it out at center. Overpassing that, now here's Matthews. In over the line for Nyes, back for Matthews. Pass was about a foot off the ice, and he couldn't settle it down. And the puck comes back out into the center ice area. Benoit in across the line, off the stick of Marner, cleared back out at center ice. Almost a breakaway opportunity, but Nyes is back checking. Broke up the rush as the Leafs defense was right in the middle of a change. Now Tavares in on the wing. Centering pass! Shot wide of the goal by Domi, and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen was in another area code. Played in on the left wing for Tavares. Don't look at me like that. I thought it was a pretty good line. Leafs into the corner for Domi. Shot was blocked. Max kept it in momentarily, but it's back out into the center ice area. Hey, one. Oh, I'm not hearing Jimmy in my headset. Brought back behind the net. Played up on the wing and out at center ice. Here's Lorenz. Couldn't get through the defense. Goes into the corner after a loose puck. Overskated it a bit. And it's back around the boards and played out into the center ice area by Buffalo. You want to try that again? Yeah, I'm not hearing you. Yeah. Guys, I'm not hearing Jimmy in my headset. I don't know if he's on the air. He's tried it. Now here's a shot from a sharp angle by Bernard Docker that went wide. Rebound kept in at the far point. Sent around the boards into the near corner. Lorenz around back of the net. Out for Lawton. Lawton stick handling with it into the slot area. And a chance there down the boards by Mermis, and it went wide. Now Mermis' shot is stopped by Luukkonen. Puck back of the net into the near corner. Yarncrook trying to come out into the slot. Back to the point in a drive. That was blocked in front of the net by Byram. And the Leafs have to come back to center ice. But a good start for the Maple Leafs. Lawton in with a shot. Gloved by Luukkonen. Held for a face-off. And there'll be a stoppage of play and a face-off coming in the Buffalo zone. Try it again, Ralphie. I'm not hearing Ralphie in my headset. So if he's on the air, he's on the air, but I'm not hearing him. I just barely hear you. Puck along the boards in the Boston zone. Chipped along the wall. It goes into the corner for Robertson. And it'll be played out into the center ice area, and going back for it now is Simon Benoit. Up ahead for Pontus Holmberg. Chipped into the zone for McMahon. He took his man to the boards. The puck comes free, and it's going to be all the way back down into the Leaf end, but no icing. Riley will go back for it. No score first period. We are approaching 6 minutes played in the period in Buffalo, and you can hear the Leaf fans chanting. Back in across the line now for Marner. Sent it wide of the net for Matthews. Matthews back to the point. Gets it returned and had it knocked off his stick by Zach Benson. And Benson starts up the left wing boards and will shoot it down into the Toronto zone.
What about now?
I got you, buddy. You're here. All right. And along the boards and back of the net.
Well, at least I know what that button's for now.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's... Stop pushing it. Over on the left wing. Shot gloved by Stolars. And that will stop play for a face-off in the Leafs.
What about this one?
Yeah, hey, no, your eyes light up. Look at that. All right, we seem to have our technical difficulties fixed. It is 0-0. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 of the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
It's soccer's most thrilling league.
Only the Premier League can make you feel like this.
And now every match is on the...
Go, Leafs, go! Go, Leafs, go! Go, Leafs, go! I can't hear you. I can't see it. Let's go. Spam up that chat. Go, Leafs, go. We need to cheer our buds on and get them fired up. Thank you for hitting that like button and spamming up that chat. Go, Leafs, go. Now let's get back to the hockey. Insiders, thank you for keeping it classy and having a good time. Every single Toronto Maple Leafs game and every single Toronto sports game live. hanging out together right here on Toronto Sports Insider. Let's get back to the hockey and have some fun in the chat.
Team this season of the 32 are the Vancouver Canucks.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
General manager of the Winnipeg Jets, Kevin Cheveldayoff. What would finishing first overall mean to the organization, Kevin?
Well, I think anytime that, you can finish in an area where you're getting recognized, it's special. But again, the important thing for us is process. Is when we buy into playing the way we need to play, then, we feel comfortable that we'll win more games than not. And then you let the chips fall where they may.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
And production on the ice with what he has done off the ice within the community. And it's a great honor and named after a man that was so vital in this community in King Clancy. Sabres get the puck in the slot and get a shot away, but it's blocked, and Nylander is out at center ice with one man back. He curls at the blue line, still has it into the slot for Tavares, and a wrist shot went off a shin pad and went wide. Back to the point, and it's going to escape to center ice as Tanev couldn't keep it in. 7 minutes played into the first period. There's no score. Buffalo with 3 shots on goal. The Leafs with 2. Tanev coming out of his own end. Played ahead and down into the zone. The puck turned over. The Leafs unable to get to it along the boards. And the Sabres backhanding with Peyton Krebs getting it out at center. And the Leafs end up getting another turnover and have it back in their own zone under control. Myers playing it off the boards through center. Backhanded in over the line, but then quickly played back out again by Buffalo. Leafs regrouping at their own blue line. Played high to the line and in. Leafs trying to finish ahead of Tampa. Tampa and Florida play as well this week, and it will be home ice advantage on the line between those two teams if the Leafs end up finishing first. That's how tight the Atlantic Division has been between the 3 top teams.
I tell you, when you look at who Florida didn't dress last night, I don't think they're too concerned about home ice advantage.
Brought in by the Sabres on an angle, and a shot deflects off the stick of Riley and has cleared the glass and gone out of play.
And we've seen a number of players. From Brad Marchand was a healthy scratch last night. They called it rest that he was out of the lineup. But I've got a little trivia question for you. New York Rangers missed the playoffs this year after winning the President's Trophy. Best team in the league last year. Last team to do it. Buffalo Sabres, 2008, after winning the President's Trophy in 2007.
And from about that time, they've not had a great deal of fortune as far as the playoffs are concerned. Here's McMahon with a sharp angle shot that Luukkonen got in the way of. Sabres back in their own zone. Bernard Docker against the boards. Had McMahon take the puck away from him. Robertson plays it around to the far point. Carlo pinches to keep it in, back of the net. Robertson getting it out in front, but it was intercepted before it reached Pontus Holmberg. Sabres back. McLeod getting it in over the line, but he makes a drop pass right on the blue line. That's about as easy a call as a linesman's going to get a chance to make.
Well, here's another thing for the Buffalo Sabres when sometimes just nothing goes right. On March 13th, they were 30th in the NHL. So the 3rd best odds to win the draft lottery. Since then, they've gone 10-6 and are now the 7th best odds to win the draft lottery. So, I mean, it's also proof you can't tell your team to pack it in.
No. But their season went sideways back in, what was it, November? Where they went on a losing streak and just the bottom fell out. And now they've actually played pretty well, especially on home ice. Here's Matthews trying to pry it along the boards with Nyes. Marner out front of the net, but they can't get him the puck. And the Sabres will bank it off the boards, but cut off there by Benoit. Sent right back down into the zone, but it's going to be an icing call And so it'll come back into the Toronto end of the rink. 10:34 to go in the first period, no score.
Well, he's won 4 in a row since losing in Buffalo. Remember last year, 9-3 loss? That's when Ilya Samsonov had the horrible night that eventually had him put on waivers in January.
Well, he ain't alone when it comes to this arena or this locale down by the lake. Sabres on the right wing side. Connor Clifton gets it back to his defense partner. Backhanded around the boards by Zucker. That was intercepted. And the Leafs now play it high into neutral ice, and a race after the puck is Marner. He'll get there to deny icing. Overskated the puck, though, and is tied up. And back to retrieve it is Connor Clifton for Buffalo. Clifton to center. In on the far boards. Centering pass into the slot. Little toe drag move and a good save made by Stolarz. Wrist shot by Alex Tuck. But Anthony Stolarz comes up big and makes the save.
Now, one thing where the Leafs have really got back to, and it started with that game in Los Angeles. Anthony Stolarz was great in goal. The Leafs came back, beat Los Angeles 3-1 in that game. And since then, the Leafs are on a 7-1 run and have only given up 12 goals in those 8 games. And one of the 12 was an empty netter in Florida. Both Stolarz and Joseph Wall have been outstanding.
Here the Sabres coming out in front of the net with a shot. And that was stopped as Ryan McLeod was allowed to come right out in front. Sabres with it again. Fighting for it. There's Tavares. It goes free into the corner. Peterka loses his stick, and the Leafs Domi gets it out at center and flips it in. Nylander in wide and got a shot away and a pad save made by Luukkonen. 4th shot on goal for Toronto. Leafs with it back at their own blue line. Mermis ahead for Tavares. Tavares setting it down into the corner. Jake McCabe, David Camp, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Again, scratches tonight, all expected to be fine and ready to go in the postseason. Wrap around a tip, comes in front of the goal, banging away at it, down is Stolarz. Got the left pad down and made the save. He's lost his goal stick, though, to the right of the goal. Long shot in traffic. Stolarz saw that through a maze and got a piece of equipment in front of that. Here are the Sabres with it again. Stolarz trying to get a stick but can't. Shot stopped by Stolarz. Leaves clear and get it out at center ice. Good pressure here from Buffalo. Bernard Docker with a long shoot in, and Stolarz makes that save. And the puck comes up on the near wing, and now here's Lawton playing it back to his defense. Benoit starts out of his own zone. Drops it back for Morgan Riley. His pass finds Lorenz. Lorenz drop pass now and a shot taken by Lawton, went off a stick and finds the screen up above the glass. 8:18 to play, first period. Game waiting for its opening goal. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Why let only one family member enjoy Rogers 5G when you can get everyone on the same great network?
Gather round, family. I have done it again.
Well, buckle up. Here we go. What now, Dad?
I got us all on a Rogers 5G plan. More 5G for everyone.
So I only have to pay one bill? Way to go, Dad. Unexpected W.
Get more lines on Rogers 5G and bring the whole family together on one bill. See Rogers.com/plans for details. Rogers, we got you.
Touchdown.
Great catch.
Give me a high five.
5 minutes later.
Interception.
Awesome play.
Give me a high five.
2 hours later.
Eddie, did you order 20 high five specials from 2-for-1 Pizza?
You kept asking for high fives.
I meant, never mind. I'm hungry.
High five. Buy any large traditional pizza and get up to 3 medium one-topping pizzas for just $5 each.
Right now, get 30% off with a Crave Premium 6-month plan and start streaming exclusive HBO series like The White Lotus.
We should always live like this.
The new season of The Last of Us.
What did you do?
I saved her.
Hit Canadian original, The Trades.
I want to make things right.
And the blockbuster, Venom, The Last Dance.
Let's go!
Get 30% off with a premium 6-month plan. Offer ends April 20th. Terms apply. Learn more at crave.ca/spring offer. Crave, endlessly entertaining.
Leafs nothing and the Buffalo Sabres nothing. First period from KeyBank Center. Stolarz lost his stick, and then it got cleared into the corner by one of the Sabres, and Stolarz had to go and get it in the face-off circle, and then scamper back and had to make a glove save just as he got back into the crease.
Yeah, and that should have been a penalty. You're not allowed to clear somebody's stick away from them. Buffalo now out shooting Toronto 10-4.
Sabres play it out in their own zone. A pass ahead on the right wing. Thompson in, tried to play it in front of the net, got it freed up. And then Nyes was able to get it, but played it right back to the blue line and kept in here by Buffalo. And now Matthews gets an outlet pass from Tanev. He works to the line and in on the right side into the slot. Pass to Marner. The one-timer went just wide. Nyes keeping it in at the blue line. In for Matthews, curling into the slot. Off to Nyes on the left wing. Shooting, and that was stopped by Luukkonen. Puck back to the net to Marner on the far half boards. One hands it back towards the blue line. Riley is able to just keep it in, and the Sabres are able to play it out into the neutral zone. And in over the line now with Tag Thompson getting a shot away, and Stolarz got the left pad in front of that. Leafs back the other way. And they're going to call this offside, and you might as well introduce the other team on the ice. And that is Cody Beach and Peter McDougall, the referees. Brandon Grillo and former Sudbury Wolf Shander Alfonso are the linesmen.
And that's where the officials find out who's working the postseason. They kind of have their own competition going through the regular season as well. Always a big deal for them, whether it's the All-Star game or especially the Stanley Cup Finals is sort of their championship.
The National Football League got demoted about 4 or 5 officials, which they rarely do, but they've been sent back to college football. Back of the net, centering pass by Domi was blocked before it reached out there, and the Sabres battle for it. Clifton gets it up on the wing, and it'll come to the line, but just kept in by Toronto. Back to the net, Domi centers! The one-timer by Nylander was stopped by Luukkonen. Here's Alex Tuck, sending it deep into the far corner. Leafs get there first, but it trickles towards the net, and Anthony Stolarz will put a glove on it and stop play.
For Anthony Stolarz, the role that he is on right now, he's won 7 straight and given up just 11 goals in those 7 games. He's also had a couple of shutouts during that stretch.
One other thing we should congratulate, after the win the other night, the wrestling belt that they hand out to the player of the game went to Tommy Blatchford, who is retiring at the end of this season, and that was his 1,500th game as an assistant equipment manager to Bobby Hastings. So Blatch, he got the belt. Good for him. Boy, they put in some long hours, those guys. Back of the net in the offensive zone. Here's Pontus Holmberg fanning on a shot. Got it back to the point. Long shot! Whoa! Luukkonen got a piece of that, but he didn't know how much he had. Did about a 360 spinorama, hoping not to see it behind him, and it was caught up in his equipment somewhere.
Yeah, this is through a screen. Wow, that redirected off Bobby McMahon. And I think Luukkonen gets it trapped under his right arm. And then it dropped, I think, down between his pads. So harmless enough looking shot. But Bobby McMahon, who, by the way, you'd like to see get going, he hasn't scored in the last 9. No points during that stretch.
Darlene gets it up on the left wing boards. Good back checking by Domi to steal. On to Nylander. Couldn't get around Darlene at the blue line. Now the puck is turned over and the Leafs have it with Tavares. Tavares rink wide for the defense. Kept in by Myers. Back of the corner for Domi, bouncing puck, corralled now by Buffalo. They'll get to the Toronto zone and shoot it in. Stolarz out of the net. Got an angle on it, got it into the corner. The referee went for a header. He's back up. Long shot, steered wide of the net by Stolarz's stick. Round back of the net. Myers chases his man. Good deflection, comes back to the point. Rasmus Dahlin with a shot off a leg. And the Leafs are going to get it to center. And Nylander just plays it down into the zone. Lorenz forces it a little deeper to allow his teammates to jam. 5:24 to go in the first period. Game looking for its opening tally. In other words, it's 0-0. Puck along the boards. Leafs have it in their own zone. Mermis to center, and he'll shoot it in. Sabres go back after it. Bowen Byram got it around back of the net into the near corner to tag Thompson. He failed to get it out. Nyes down the boards, overskated it, then regains it, and lost it again in a collision. And the puck is out at center ice with Thompson battling for it. But it's dug out, and now the Sabres in across the line. Drop pass for Thompson. Tried to make a move in there, and he had it knocked away, and the Leafs break it back out at center. Marner trying to flip it in for Matthews. Matthews tries to center, hit a leg. Centering attempt again was blocked. Then he got knocked down by Samuelsson. Puck comes up on the near boards. Thompson starts out of his own end. Sabre fans were hollering, and the Leaf fans were hollering, thinking there should have been a penalty. So it was kind of a saw-off in the hollering department. 4:20 to play in the period, no score. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
The NFL Draft is coming, and the place for the latest information is SiriusXM NFL Radio.
This guy's decision-making is impressive.
Our experts will tell you what your team needs.
They've got to get better around Geno Smith.
And which players will make an impact.
Cleveland, they might already say the number one's going to be Ward, so we got to be prepared. Who do we like it to the most?
SiriusXM NFL Radio gets you ready for the NFL Draft on Channel 88 in the car and on the SiriusXM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
December 15th, Vancouver Canucks were in the playoffs. And this is when they had that big controversy going on. So they had to do something about it. And they did do something about it. Well, now they're not in the playoffs. You know what? They're not even really close anymore. This is the most absurd season falling apart. The most disappointing team this season of the 32 are the Vancouver Canucks.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
General manager of the Winnipeg Jets, Kevin Cheveldayoff. What would finishing first overall mean to the organization, Kevin?
Well, I think anytime that, you can finish in an area where you're getting recognized, it's special. But again, the important thing for us is process. Is when we buy into playing the way we need to play, then, we feel comfortable that we'll win more games than not. And then you let the chips fall where they may.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
Point number 99 in Ford in a 2-1 win over the Panthers. He set up Austin Matthews on the opening goal of that game, but then wasn't able to get on the board in Tampa the next night or in New York against the Rangers to finish the regular season. It'd be nice kind of to get that over with here, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I don't know how much leeway the Leafs are going to have because of the cap for their final game against Detroit, which is Thursday, on whether anybody will be able to be rested. So we'll wait and see, and we get an offside at the blue line that's whistled down. 4:03 to play in the period, and face-off coming outside the Buffalo blue line.
Yeah, I shake my head at Florida. I don't know how they're able to rest.
They seem to have some fairly large contracts, don't they?
Well, we got a penalty here for high sticking. And it's got to be the Leafs, right? Oh, yeah, Nick Robertson. Boy, and those are the things that they were really on Nick Robertson about taking those careless stick penalties. The game that he ended up getting benched in after was in San Jose when he took a couple of stick infraction penalties across the league.
So the Sabres are on the power play. They work it back to the point and over on the near side. Grabbed off there by Peterka. He works into the corner. Dropped it back to the blue line. Corralled there by Dahlin over on the far side. Townsend trying to get it in front. Comes back to the near side. Kept alive by Peterka, and a shot is gloved by Stolars and is going to be held for a face-off, and the penalty kill is brought to you by CMC Markets. Take your trading to the next level with $0 commission on stocks.
Ottawa, or the Buffalo Sabre power play 23rd in the league, but 3 for 5 in the last 2 games in Florida. JJ Peterka might be a guy you want to watch. 34 points in his last 31 games.
Draw to the left of Stolars. Won by the Leafs, played back of the net, but out of the reach of Carlo, and the Sabres are onto it. Back to the blue line to Tuck. Over on the near side, Peterka. Peterka top of the circle, a shot. Getting in the way of that was Benoit, and it took a bit of a bite out of him. Kept alive on the far side. Thompson, centering pass. That was knocked away. Good centering feed for Jason Zucker. Back to the blue line. Dahlin keeping it in. Back into the corner for Tucker. Tough shot, pass across, and Peterka fanned on it, and the rebound is cleared but not out. Dahlin keeping it in. Rasmus Dahlin into the far corner. Thompson holds, being forced there by Carlo. Centering pass, and a quick shot taken by Jason Zucker is swallowed up by Anthony Stolars with 56 seconds left to go in the power play.
Well, Anthony Stolars, when he is on, and this is the same for most goaltenders, you could say about Joseph Woll as well, but just so anchored. It's not no excess movement. He's just out, set, square, and just absorbs another Buffalo shot in close. 13-6 shots for the Sabres.
Sabres win the face-off again. 53 seconds in the power play. Into the corner for Jack Quinn. Quinn lost the puck. Matthews got a hold of it, and he backhands it out and down the ice. The other thing about Stolars, anchored, yes, but he's not rigid. I mean, he swallows pucks up.
Yeah.
He just swallows pucks up.
But not overplaying, never losing his crease.
Played ahead by the Leafs to the line, and a penalty coming to Buffalo.
That's going to be a hold as Matthew Nyes tried to jump through the, looked like a running back trying to get through the hole. Right?
Well, he was, but he made a good move. When he felt the hold, he accelerated his feet movement to look like, hey, I should be going faster than what I am. Yeah. Look at my feet. And it was
Jack Quinn that sort of latched onto his left arm. A little bit of 4-on-4 to start, and the Leafs will have their first power play of the night.
And the Leaf power play brought to you by Subaru. Hurry to the all-in-one event for great offers and experience all the features that come standard in a Subaru.
They're calling it holding. I think you could have gotten interference as well.
Lindy Ruffin behind the bench of the Buffalo Sabres, coming back after a long tenure as the bench boss of the Sabres and a former player. And the Leafs are going to take the puck all the way back out of the zone, all the way back into their own end, trying to kill off this 17 seconds of 4-on-4. Now Nylander works to the line and in on the right side. Going to ring the puck around the boards to the near side to Riley. Riley back to the point to Tavares. On to Riley. Now the penalty over. Here's Nylander cutting in on the right side. Wrap around. No, doesn't come. Works it back to the blue line. Kept in by Marner. Marner holds. Lost the handle. Got it into Matthews. Matthews around back of the net for Nyes. A pass for Tavares was intercepted and cleared off of Marner's stick. It comes out into the center ice area. Marner with it again. Dropping for Matthews. To the line and in on the left wing. Matthews goes back to the slot area for Marner. A tip pass to find Nylander. Left wing boards. Brought it back into the slot for Marner. Closing with a pass in. And it deflected wide of the goal. Marner getting it back into the slot. A one-timer on the far side. And Luukkonen comes across and makes his best save off Austin Matthews.
I don't know if Matthews got all of this. There was a broken stick in the circle to his left. And as Mitch Marner, the nice pass, I guess he did get more of it, Joe, than I thought he might have, but didn't get it elevated. Where Matthews would have helped Mitch Marner reached the 100-point mark.
Puck kept in by Toronto. Nylander back to Marner. Wrist shot coming. Rebound in front of the goal. Luukkonen again gets there with Nyes on the doorstep.
You like this, Mitch Marner? I mean, he doesn't have that big blast from the point, but he's so accurate getting pucks through with a wrist shot. And Matthew Nyes, I think Joe might have got a piece of this.
Well, he certainly tried. Yeah, if he didn't, he certainly provided a pretty good screen, didn't he?
By the way, Lindy Ruff, trying to be just the 5th coach in NHL history to hit 900 wins, 899.
Draw to the left. Controlled by Buffalo. They're going to play it off the boards and down the ice it goes. 38 seconds left to go in the power play. Nylander goes back into his own zone and circles his goal. Less than a minute in the period. Brought to the line. Drop pass goes to Matthews. Got it in over the line, but out of the reach of Nyes. And it's played back the other way. And here's Tuck in over the line. Nice play by Marner to take it away from him. They'll drop it off to Nylander and then return it. Marner up on the left wing for Nyes. Drops for Matthews. He hits the zone. Left wing side. Spins it back to the blue line. A pass in front of the net looking for Nyes. And it was intercepted by the Sabres as the penalty expires and it's shot down the ice. 22 seconds left in a scoreless first. Riley on for Robertson. Couldn't get into the zone. 10 seconds left as the puck comes to the Leaf zone and into the slot area for Thompson. Centering pass, and fanned on. Yuri Kulich was right in the hash marks in the slot. And as he tried to load up one, it unloaded and backfired.
I think he was trying to do the little toe drag to change the angle and had it roll off.
So there is no score after 20 minutes of play.
I think from a Leaf standpoint that you like, Buffalo can sort of suck you into playing that run and gun game where you're going to exchange chances and it's 3-on-1s one way, 3-on-2s the other. And the Leafs, they talk about sticking to their game plan and being patient. They weren't dominant in the first period, but they were certainly patient.
13-8. The Sabres outshoot the Maple Leafs in the first 20 minutes, no score. We'll step aside. Jim Taddy along with Anthony Stewart coming your way. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Hear every game of the NBA playoffs on Sirius XM.
He's going to fire up a three for the win!
Don't miss a second of the action all the way through the NBA Finals.
Tatum has to force a three at the buzzer, and he got it!
And throughout the playoffs, get closer to the storylines that matter on NBA Radio, Channel 86.
There are certain guys that you need to be a part of your roster to win NBA championships.
Listen to home and away broadcasts of every NBA playoff game on your radio and the Sirius XM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
December 15th, Vancouver Canucks were in the playoffs. And this is when they had that big controversy going on. So they had to do something about it. And they did do something about it. Well, now they're not in the playoffs. You know what? They're not even really close anymore. This is the most absurd season falling apart. The most disappointing team this season of the 32 are the Vancouver Canucks.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
General manager of the Winnipeg Jets, Kevin Cheveldayoff. What would finishing first overall mean to the organization, Kevin?
Well, I think anytime that, you can finish in an area where you're getting recognized, it's special. But again, the important thing for us is process. Is when we buy into playing the way we need to play, then, we feel comfortable that we'll win more games than not. And then you let the chips fall where they may.
The Power Play.
What's up, insiders? Give me 1 second here to activate the webcam. Of course. There it is. All right, what's up, insiders? I hope you can hear me. I hope the microphone is not too loud. I was recording some stuff for Sons of a Pitch Soccer last night. Big shout out to everybody here in the chat. Go Leafs, go. 0-0 here in the first period in Buffalo. Man, Joe and Jim already having audio issues. Crazy. I can't believe that they're not going on the road with the team. I'm in shock. But anyways, great to see everybody here in the chat. Brandy, Andrew, Stan, Rock, welcome. Jeremy, Fred, Andrew Hurd, Mr. Brennan, Stefan, Mark Duffney, Shield. The list goes on, and I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of people. Anyways, very important message right now from Toronto Sports Insider and TSI Mike. Hey, Jose, how you doing, man? You know what? I got to give a very special shout-out to a friend of mine, Jaron. Thank you for what you did today, sir. It was amazing, and I am so proud to call you a coworker. And today was a very interesting day in my life, and just hug your loved ones and always do the right thing, no matter what that means. No matter what the repercussions may be, always do the right thing. And today, Jaron and a bunch of other people made right decisions, and I'm proud to say that we made the right decision today, regardless. And keep it up, Jaron. I'm proud to work with you, man. And look forward to getting to know you better as well, because you were a rock star 6 months ago when I met you out on the first scene. Anyways, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, where's the hat? Right, hat list, guys. I got called out on work. I just took my hard hat off. Actually, Jaron's hard hat. And so look. Craziness going on with the Playoff Pulse campaign. Look out for the new graphics. They're coming. We're getting ready for the playoffs over here. And, man, it's going to be a lot of fun. Stack is working on the... It's a fake-ass story, says Kat. Yeah, go ahead, buddy. Whatever you think. I wouldn't be talking about this otherwise. Anyways, we've got the Playoff Pulse coming. Stack's got the graphics showing up probably tomorrow morning. We got all the stuff. Easton Cowan sent over a bunch of stuff today. Joe Bowen sent over his stuff yesterday. A lot of work on my end, but then duty calls, right? So here we are, out in our flame resistant gear. All right, go Leafs go. We'll see you back in the chat. Have a great chat over there. It's already popping off. I love it. This chat. Sonia Santos. Thank you for hanging out with us. H2O as well. Good to see you. Tanya, welcome. Go Leafs go. Mark Duffney. Cheers to Mark Duffney. Great to see you, man. Thanks for hanging out with us there in the chat. Let's get that wave going, eh? Let's get the Leafs going here. Burn. Cheers. Let's go, everybody. Yes, Christopher Bell. I don't care what the story is, just that everyone is okay, and we don't know for sure yet, but we do know that the right decisions were made from a human standpoint regarding another human. And so with that, we'll leave it there. Everybody's okay as of right now. Go Leafs go. We'll see you back in the chat. All right, get your bald ass out of here.
Shots, a couple of good looks here and there, but again, no big warts in their game. So if I'm Craig Berube, like, hey guys, like again, it's not the perfect period. It's in the road. We played in Carolina. We played against Carolina the other day as well. So let's just continue to build. And this Buffalo Sabres team has been known to sort of self-implode over this year. So just continue to play the system, block your shots. They got 8 after 20 minutes as well. They led the face-off department 10-9, the hits department as well. They did get outshot, but they set themselves up just for, hey, you know what? Each moment that this game is tied or you're up a goal, it goes towards Buffalo just slowly crumbling, and then you have the ability to take over the game.
What was your take on the performance of the bottom 6 forward unit, the third and fourth line?
Again, the penalties sort of killed the rhythm of that a little bit, but I did notice the Robertson-Holmberg line. They got in on the cycle, they got on the forecheck, turned the puck over. I've noticed Lorentz turned the puck over here, so that's what they're doing. It's not about going in and creating opportunities, but again, they're spending less time in their zone, getting in the offensive zone, and just disrupting the play. And what you need to do is almost soften up the defense for the top 2 lines to come in and sort of add that offense. So again, it wasn't a perfect period, but I did notice Holmberg's line a couple times getting in on that forecheck, and disrupting the play, which I think that's their game plan for tonight.
Well, and I guess the goaltending, Stolarz has stopped all 13. I don't know if there were a collection of A-plus chances, but didn't allow anything, so that's good news.
He looks big. It's it's almost like an optical illusion where you just turn your head. He's like, he looks bigger and bigger every time he said that. And it's, we talked early in the season, like he just looks like you have to make the perfect shot. You have to go bar down or you have to catch him sleeping. But remember when he was struggling a bit, he was swimming in his crease. He was getting caught with pucks off the back wall. Now he's just dialed in. He's calm. He's cool. He's not panicking. He's just almost letting the puck hit him. And when you have that calmness, it just adds a little bit more confidence to the defense and the rest of the team. So pretty solid 20. And he seems like he's poised for a big game as well.
So if you're coming in on him on the rush and you look up to pick a spot and all you see is the jersey, what do you do?
You do the Pierre Engvall turn back around and regroup.
Wow, no, he's getting multiple mentions tonight. Wow.
Oh, man. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. It's funny. We worked in Atlanta. I played for Craig Ramsey, who was almost like a student of the game. And we used to talk about every practice we'd work on as a warm-up, pass off the pad. So you'd come down the flank and you throw it off that part, that far pad for it to sort of pop out for a rebound. So you almost have to shoot like that. You're not going to beat him on that clean shot. Think about that over the years. How many shots off the rush coming down the flank you're going and you're beating Stolarz? Like those opportunities haven't been there. So I think you almost have to set up the second shot. So, I think if you're taking the point shot, you got to have traffic, but it's a good problem to have when that goaltender just looks so big. And like I mentioned, it just has to be that perfect placement. And there's not a lot of shooters that can do that, on shot number one.
So I'm going to go ask you to remember a couple of the plays. There was that one play where Marner almost set up Matthews for, point 100 and career goal 400, and it just didn't go in. But when I watch them play like that, and it gets back to what we're describing about sort of waiting for the moment, it's almost like a football team running plays. It doesn't work, but, just keep trying it and wait for the crack to appear, and then it'll happen. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does. So you're almost like Pippen and Jordan, right? Is that what we're saying? No, they have that chemistry where they know where they are, where each other is on the ice. And on that actual play, it actually got kind of messed up because Matthews actually had to come in to clear the stick, and then he didn't have that proper gap. He's usually, when he's taking that shot from that side, he's probably another 4 or 5 feet out. So his angle was a little bit off, but he wanted to clear that crease for maybe, Nyes or Tavares, whoever's there. But they have chemistry where, I saw a couple plays where they were actually putting the puck where the other player was skating into. So it's good chemistry, and I've had that, not at the NHL level, pro level, but junior, where you have that second sense and you know exactly where your teammate is going to be, and you just have that confidence just to play, almost that Globetrotter style hockey. So it's fun to watch. One of the best 1-2 combos in the league, and it's just a matter of time. I think it's a matter of time for tonight. They get 100th, and this 400th goal for Austin Matthews.
It is scoreless after 20 minutes of play. Stolarz stopping all 13 and UPL stopping all 4. No, it was 6. Sorry, 6. Is it 6? Yes, it's 6. Okay, there we go. So there's the shots on goal, and it is scoreless. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Alpine News Network is here live with one of our superheroes.
I don't want to say I'm a big deal, but I am a superhero. I love helping people consolidate their debts, and that's what I did for the Smiths. I took their bills and zoom, wha-bam, zap, turn them into one low monthly payment. No, the sound's not necessary, but it's part of the fun.
Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved. Just for license 12616.
When you get a Subaru with symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and class-leading safety included, it's like you also get a Subaru that comes with your very own golf club holder, stadium parking navigator, a basketball team transporter, a remote cottage finder, a beaver spotter, a coach hauler, bear country guide, a family road trip carrier, a muddy road controller, extreme wind stabilizer, plus a... And we're out of time. Subaru is the multi-tool that masters every unpredictable weather condition. Visit your local Subaru dealer for great lease and finance options.
Lately, times have been challenging, with many people facing increased interest rates, inflation, and rising credit card debt. Everyone needs a little help from time to time, but it can be hard to ask for help when it comes to your personal finances. But you're not alone. Millions of Canadians share that feeling with you. 500,000 Canadians have found help with their debt, and so can you, with Consolidated Credit Counseling Services of Canada. They are one of the largest nonprofit credit counseling organizations in the country, with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. They could help you consolidate your bills into one affordable payment, minimize your interest rates, and get you out of debt fast. No matter how much you owe, you don't need to do this alone. To get help, call 1-800-318-1940. That's 1-800-318-1940. Let Consolidated Credit get you back to a debt-free life. Call 1-800-318-1940. Call toll-free today for a free consultation. 1-800-318-1940. Ontario license number 4705786.
How can you protect your keys? Simply attach a War-Amps key tag to your key ring. If you lose your keys, the finder can call the number on the back of the tag or drop them in any mailbox, and the War-Amps will return them to you by courier for free. Today, the key tag service is more important than ever with the high replacement cost of keys and remote devices. War-Amps key tags. They're free and they work. Order yours at waramps.ca and help make a difference in the lives of amputees.
Touchdown. Great catch. Give me a high five. 5 minutes later. Interception. Awesome play. Give me a high five. 2 hours later.
Eddie, did you order 20 high five specials from 2 for $1 pizza?
You kept asking for high fives.
I meant, never mind. I'm hungry.
High five. Buy any large traditional pizza and get up to 3 medium 1-topping pizzas for just $5 each.
2 for $1. Pizza. 2 for $1.
The out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by Maple Toyota. You don't have to go to town for a great new Tundra RAV4 gas or hybrid. Maple Toyota has them in stock and ready to deliver. Visit mapletoyota.com. Here we go. Boston and the Devils tied at 1 after 20 minutes of play. End of the first, Chicago 2-1 over Ottawa. End of the first, Jackets and Flyers are scoreless. Midway through the first, Tampa 1-0 over Florida. In the first period, it's Washington 1-0 over the Islanders. Later on tonight, starting in a few minutes, Utah in St. Louis against the Blues. Also at 8 o'clock, Anaheim and Minnesota. At 9, Vegas and Calgary. And at 10:30, L.A. in Seattle against the Kraken. Leafs outshot in that period 13-8. This is Bolsa Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeart Radio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
I'm Katie Nolan, and I have a new podcast called Casuals. It's a podcast for people who like sports a normal amount. Casuals is a twice-a-week hang with me and my friends from across comedy, sports, and entertainment, where we talk about all the funny, weird, interesting stuff happening in and around the world of sports. So whether you're a diehard fan or just vaguely sports curious, Casuals is the podcast for you. You can find Casuals on the SiriusXM app, Pandora, or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Give it a try. What's the worst that could happen?
NHL Morning Skate.
December 15th, Vancouver Canucks were in the playoffs. And this is when they had that big controversy going on. So they had to do something about it. And they did do something about it. Well, now they're not in the playoffs. You know what? They're not even really close anymore. This is the most absurd season falling apart. The most disappointing team this season of the 32 are the Vancouver Canucks.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
General manager of the Winnipeg Jets, Kevin Cheveldayoff. What would finishing first overall mean to the organization, Kevin?
Well, I think anytime that you can finish in an area where you're getting recognized, it's special. But again, the important thing for us is process. Is when we buy into playing the way we need to play, then we feel comfortable that we'll win more games than not, and then you let the chips fall where they may.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
It's soccer's most thrilling league.
Only the Premier League can make you feel like this.
And now every match is on the SiriusXM app.
Can you believe it?
From the title race.
This is remarkable. Keeps this title charge on track, surely.
To the relegation fight.
The impossible may still be possible.
Hear every English Premier League match on SiriusXM FC 157 and the SiriusXM app. Just search for your favorite club.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate. Weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
Everywhere you want it.
No score after the first period of play at KeyBank Center in Buffalo. We were reminiscing, and I completely forgot. It's been 2 years since we lost Rick Jeanneret, the voice of the Buffalo Sabres. God, and time flies, and it's just ridiculous.
Yep, almost, I believe 2 years ago, July, August.
Yep.
We'd have lost RJ. Mike Lang, we've lost recently as well. And it's sort of sad. We've talked about this, how, you lose them and, they retire at times when their teams are missing the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
You would like to see that one final game as a great playoff moment. I guess that would be a Stanley Cup. We'd all love that.
And down in New York,
yes, Sam
Rosen is calling his last game, and
Rangers are out.
Yeah, they're not making it after winning the President's Trophy a year ago. So I don't think you would have wagered on that at the beginning of the season, Mr. Ralph. Leafs to the left and the Sabres to the right. We're underway. Start the second period, no score. And it's deflected down into Buffalo territory. Around the boards on the near side. Marner couldn't trap it. Thompson gets it out at center on the left wing for Benson. Benson tied up on the boards. The puck goes into the near corner. Tanev is in there battling for it. And as usual, he comes out with it, but he gets it around back of the net. That hit a side of the goal. Now he has it again. And Tanev getting it ahead and out now on the left wing side for Benoit. Benoit got to center and shot it down into the zone. Knives into the forecheck, doesn't get there in time to block it. And now here is Benson getting it in over the line and shooting it around the boards to the far wing. Leafs come out with it. Domi with a long rink-wide pass off Nylander. I assume it went, no, I guess I was wrong in my assumption because it's going to be called icing and coming back into the Toronto end of the rink.
An interesting one for you, and hopefully Jake McCabe is going to fit into this category at some point. But the he wasn't one of the leading scorers. In 2017-18, the four leading scorers for the Buffalo Sabres all went on to win Stanley Cups with other teams. That included Ryan O'Reilly, Jack Eichel, winning it with Vegas, Kyle Opozo, won it with Florida, and Sam Reinhart with the Florida Panthers as well.
Played out into the center ice. Buffalo sends it back in off a stick and around back of the net. Stolarz playing it gingerly into the corner. Riley gave the puck away, but it was restored and sent off the boards and out and in over the line now for Tavares. Tavares to Domi. Domi centering pass comes back to the point. Carlo can't shoot it at the net, gets it into the corner again for Domi. Stops up on the boards to find Nylander. Nylander couldn't get it in front of the net for Tavares, and a high stick has made contact with it. And so play is whistled dead in this second period. It started off at a bit of a snail's pace. No score in the hockey game.
It'd be interesting to see how the Columbus-Philadelphia game turns out, but certainly, the big surprise was over the weekend. Columbus beating Washington back-to-back games.
Not beating them, they embarrassed them.
11-1, they outscored them. 7-0 and 4-1 in those two games.
A lot. Their Washington Capitals were in the President's Trophy race until the end, but all of the attention on Ovechkin, and they have really not played very well since that milestone was reached, as it's played down into Buffalo territory. Sabres back to retrieve it. Bernard Docker got it up on the left wing. In across the line comes Peterka. Peterka is ridden out of the play. It goes around the boards to the far side. Trapped over there by Byram, but knocked off his stick into center. Here's McMahon trying to push in, and a penalty coming in the centering pass. And that was kicked away by Luukkonen off the stick of Pontus Holmberg. And the Sabres have touched it. And the Leafs are going to go to the power play as a result.
Boy, and that's just extra effort. Loose puck up the middle, going back into the Buffalo zone. And both Bobby McMahon and Nick Robertson took off. Jack Quinn's going to be gone for his second minor of the game. Just 2 minutes and 23 seconds into the second period. But both Robertson and Bobby McMahon, 2 Leafs against 3 Sabres. And it was McMahon that kind of tipped it ahead and looked like he might have had a little bit of daylight taking the puck to the net on his own.
Go ahead.
I was going to say Leafs get their second power play.
And they win the draw. And the centering pass. Oh, and a wicked shot by Matthews explodes off the glass just over top of the net. Here's Nyes sending it around the boards. He'll find Matthews in the near corner. Matthews playing it back to the blue line. Marner into the slot for Tavares. To Nylander. And the shot deflected wide. Now, again, back to Marner. Marner on the near boards. A pass in front of Tavares, a shot. The rebound was knocked wide of the goal. And the Sabres are going to play it out and down the ice. Power play brought to you by your Ontario Subaru dealers. Hurry to the all-in-one event for great offers and experience all the features that come standard in a Subaru. Here, Nylander across the line. Into the corner for Nyes. He'll play it around the boards. It's going to find Tavares at the near point. A little touch pass is intercepted. Brought back by Buffalo in on goal. Benson doesn't shoot it. Benson trying to cycle it back now to the blue line on the far side. Now a wrist shot goes well wide of the net. And Nyes can't come up with it as it deflects down into Buffalo territory. Sabres will ice the puck now, killing off a little more time. Marner back of the goal, starting out with it with 44 seconds left in the penalty. To Nylander. Cross the line on the right wing side. Willie banks it around the boards, but it caroms off the dasher board and goes up into the screen and out of play.
Well, the number one unit will head to the Leaf bench for now. John Tavares had a great opportunity. That was after Austin Matthews rifled a one-timer over top of the net. But Mitch Marner had a nice little touch pass into Tavares, and I don't think he got all of that.
He didn't get it elevated, I know that. It was
Luukkonen was able to get his right pad low and on it.
Yep. Snapped off the boards and down the ice. A half minute to go in the penalty. Stolars will leave the puck back to the net and play it himself up on the wing for Riley, who drops it back, and now Riley will carry it out. He'll drop it back, and Robertson comes through the neutral zone. Gathering some speed, dropping it off for Domi in on the left wing. That bogs down. Robertson couldn't get it. It comes to the near wing. Sabres are going to get clear of it, and down the ice it goes. 4 seconds left in the power play. Morgan Riley to center. Dropping it back for Robertson. In on the left wing it goes. Domi cutting to the net. He's in a goal! And he backhanded it just wide of the near post. Great rush there by Max Domi. Sabres bring it back in over the line. Dropping back into the slot. And a shot goes high and wide. Kind of hoping we are going to stay with you here, folks. We're getting some flashes here off our screen. Shot from the blue line deflects. And it's gone up into the screen at the end of the Leaf end. Our picture has been fluctuating a little bit here off our monitors.
Max Domi takes it to the net off the left wing boards. And boy, he has room around the left pad of Luukkonen. And I don't, he might have been just.
I think his stick just got tapped.
Yeah.
Didn't it? Yeah. I think that was Yuri Kulich. He just got his stick underneath Max's to prevent him from being able to backhand when he wanted to backhand.
Hey, Domi's looked good, though, on the second line, hasn't he? That was the second power play unit.
At the point, shot deflects wide of the Leaf goal. There's Tanev getting it off the stick, but not out. Kept alive now by McLeod. McLeod in the corner, leaves it there for Peterka. He's taken off the puck, and the Leafs get it out at center ice. From center, it is shot in now by Steven Lorenz. Lorenz in with a good hit on the inboards. Puck against the wall, battled for it. Lawton to the point, kept in by Toronto, but blocked by the Sabres, and they get it out at center, and the Leafs have to tag up, and they get it in over the line, but it's intercepted easily and shot out at center by Jacob Bryson. Leafs get it back into neutral ice. Brought on by Lawton, 2-on-1 break. Lawton's in a goal! And he shot it over top of the goal. Back to the point, it's going to bounce over Carlo's stick and come all the way back into the Leaf end.
Boy, it was a 2-on-1, but Lawton made the right play, holding on to it. The Buffalo defenseman took the pass away, and Lawton just missed. Leafs have been much more dangerous here in the second period.
Well, the two real good chances, one by Matthews and then Lawton, sent over the crossbar. Played out at center, and Matthews has it again. Got it to Marner, cutting in. Marner centers in front of the goal! They bang away at it, and somehow Luukkonen got a pad down to stop that. Another great scoring chance. Riley for Marner. Too far for Nyes to come up with. Sabres come back the other way. Rasmus Dahlin in on the left wing. Zucker had his pass blocked. Dahlin with a shot, and that's deflected by Stolarz wide of the goal. Bad flip there by Nyes. Keeps the puck in. Then a diligent back check by Nylander. Steals it back. Nylander had his pass partially blocked. It goes to the near side for Myers, who will get it out into neutral ice. But it's going to be an icing call against Toronto.
Boy, Mitch Marner could have 3 points easily.
Easily.
Here in this game, but, I mean, it's Scott Laughton coming in. Marner had nothing to do with that. Laughton put it over top of the net, and then Matthews threw it to Marner. Coming down over the right wing side, and Marner throws it right back to the front of the net. And Matthews just could not get his stick on it. It goes off of Buffalo's skate and harmlessly wide.
Face-off scrummed. Played into the corner by Myers. Leafs get it up on the wing, but can't pry it free. Now Nylander looks to make a pass, and Tavares is able to free it up to the defense. Riley up on the left wing. Nyes is still out there. Leafs are getting a change going. Sabres bring it back in. Thompson working into the slot. Diligent back checking by Domi, stole it away. And Domi sends a long right wing pass out of the reach of Tavares, but it'll go down in along the end boards. Puck into the near corner in the Buffalo zone. Puck comes free. Tavares to Domi. Wrist shot off a leg wide of the net. Benson. Holmberg unable to come up with a loose puck. And the Sabres will get it out into the center ice area. Leafs, who may have started a bit slow in the first period, have certainly carried the first 8 minutes of period number 2, but have not been rewarded. In on the left wing now, a shot into the chest of Luukkonen off the stick of McMahon, and a face-off coming in the Buffalo zone. There is no score in the hockey game. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Unlock more distance, more forgiveness, and more accuracy with the all-new QI35 family of drivers from TaylorMade. Our most adjustable drivers ever, combining TaylorMade speed, maximum forgiveness, and an entirely new level of fitting precision to bring every golfer more distance from more of the face. Get QI35 Fit today and unlock another level for your game with the all-new QI35 family of drivers at TaylorMadeGolf.ca.
I'm standing for Canada. Hi there, I'm Rick Mercer. This is not a rant, just a polite Canadian request. Let's use our collective Canadianness to protect Canadian jobs and Canadian business. If the label says made in Canada or product of Canada, buy it. Shop as if your country depends on it. Keep your money in Canada for Canada.
The 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid is here, and it may sound too good to be true. With a 2-liter 4-cylinder backed by 2 electric motors, giving a combined 200 horsepower, it's our most powerful and fuel-efficient Civic ever. Plus, with an estimated range of over 800 kilometers and available features like a Bose premium sound system, your crew will love it too. Huh, maybe it should be called the Civic 2.0. Redefine your drive with the 2025 Civic Hybrid. Visit your Ontario Honda dealer and test drive yours today.
No score in the hockey game. The Leafs and the Buffalo Sabres.
Well, the old saying, it ain't over till it's over. Tampa up on Florida 2-0.
It ain't over till it's over. Oh, you wanted me to say that? Probably. It's true, though. Draw one by the Maple Leafs. Worked back towards the blue line and set in front of the goal, and it trickled off Matthews' stick. Nyes didn't see it and went right by him. Puck out into the center ice area, and the Leafs bring it right back in again. Nyes couldn't find Marner. Around the boards, it's going to come to the near side. Carlo pinched, but the puck comes out at center, and Matthews is back there to regroup it with Riley, who gets it up ahead, and Nyes will send it right back into the offensive zone. He arrives there first, but Dahlin is able to punch it up on the wall and get it out. Leafs back in the center ice area. Marner, a weak pass, couldn't free it up. Nyes has it against the boards. Sabres are able to play it down into the Leaf end. Stolarz playing it back along the boards for Tanev and out at center ice. Shot right back down into Buffalo territory. Back to the net, Connor Clifton. Overskated it, and so did Nyes, and the Sabres get it out at center ice, only to have Tanev block the path of getting into the Toronto end. Here's Jack Quinn getting it ahead at center across the line for Ryan McLeod, and a shot blockered away nicely there by Stolarz. Shots are 14-11 Buffalo here in the second period as we reach the halfway mark almost of the hockey game. Puck is back at the Toronto goal. Benoit does a nice job of tying up his man, and Tanev will try to free it up for him back at the net and does. Benoit playing it off the wall to center. Sabres regroup, and both teams changing as the Leafs get a turnover. Brought in by Nylander. He walks the line to the left wing side, still with it. Sent into the corner now, trying to get to it is Scotty Lawton. He was unable to, and the Sabres have brought it back out at center ice with Noah Ostlund getting it down into the Leaf end. Myers ties up his man. Leafs quickly get it ahead. Lawton getting it out, but unable to connect with Yarncrook. Now back in across the line comes Buffalo. Pass into the slot, and it was tipped just wide of the Leaf goal as driving the net was Sam Lafferty. Leafs out at center. Off the skate of Yarncrook into the zone, but quickly played by Buffalo back into the Toronto end. Leafs are regrouping. 9:38 to go in a scoreless hockey game, second period. Morgan Riley shoots it in, and it's going to be either offside or icing, one or the other. And once we get the commercial off our screen, we'll be able to tell you.
Well, I can tell you, Tampa now up on the Florida Panthers 3-0.
Okay.
With about a minute and a half to go in the opening period. Looks like Tampa's on an extended power play, Florida's on an extended power play. 2:31 to go in it.
So what you're saying is, Mr. Ralph,
look after your own.
Look after your own business, yes. Here's a chance upper. Robertson cutting in, and he shot it wide on the far side. Robertson gets it again in the corner. Walks behind the net. Tried to play it back to the point, but it went off a stick. And the Sabres have airmailed it high down into the Leaf zone. Myers playing it back out at center. Mermis had to go off his stick, and it goes up into the bench area and out of play. And a face-off is going to come back in the center ice area when we return. No score, second period. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From the roots of Motown and R&B.
Oh, yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman.
To the groovy rhythms of the 70s. Music icon Smokey Robinson is delivering his very own channel of 60s and 70s soul hits and stories of his career.
Hey, it's Smokey Robinson. Music is my life.
Whether you're cruising or just vibing at home, let your soul shine with Smokey's Soul Town. Channel 74 and at home on your phone, computer, Alexa, TV, or other.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. I'm talking to you. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight during the Leafs game, everybody. Still 0-0 here in the second period. We really appreciate you being here, and now that we've got your attention, if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you don't miss it when we go live for every single playoff game coming up. We've started the playoff pulse tonight. I haven't even set up the official link yet with Tiltify, but we're underway, and the graphics are coming soon. We're already live for the NBA playoff games. We're live for the Blue Jays game right now. Cheers to Carmen for letting me know about the freezing of the screen. This graphics thing, we're working on it. Go Leafs, go! We'll see you back in the chat. Thank you, and welcome to our awesome, amazing community. Look at that chat. Look at that chat. Look at that chat. This is the place to be. Cheers. Go Leafs, go. Let's get a goal, eh? Come on.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
PM on TSN 1050.
No score. The Leafs have had some good opportunities. In period number 2, Austin Matthews trying to get to the 400-goal club. Matt Sundin of the Maple Leafs ahead of him, but that is about it.
Matt was able to get number 400 on Carey Price, number 500 on Mika Kiprasov. So he had to earn it against some of the best in the league.
Leafs play it down into Buffalo territory. Nyes will pressure the defense, knocks his man down, Samuelsson, but the puck goes free, and Kulich will start out on the right wing. He hits the Leaf blue line and drops it back to the blue line. Kept in there, and it's sent around back of the net. Benson couldn't get to it. Pinching in is Samuelsson from the point, but the Leafs come up with it, and a bank pass to center finds Marner. A little play between his legs there to now knife it down into the corner. Now stolen by Nyes to Matthews, shooting, and he waited too long maybe and gave Luukkonen a time to come telegraphing out to make the save. Great play by Marner and Nyes on the turnover to set up Matthews. Sabres Thompson in across the line. Zach Benson into the slot. One-timer on the far side. Hit the goal post on the near side for the Sabres. And the Leafs catch a break there.
Boy, maybe the first time all game the Leafs got caught on their heels watching.
Here's Robertson in across the line. Got a return pass intended for him, but Bowen Byram was able to get it out at center. Peyton Krebs gets it into the side of the goal, and a shot stopped there by Stolarz. Leafs get it to the line, but not out. Kept alive by Buffalo, but the Leafs are able to turn it over. And the defense has it now as it's played off the boards by Carlo and brought to center ice by Robertson. In on the left wing it goes. McMahon with a shot. And that is gloved by the left hand of Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
It's been more dangerous here in the second period. And, I mean, a lot of opportunities right between the hash marks. You said Austin Matthews had the last one when Matthew Nyes was able to get in on the forecheck, forced the turnover. Matthews right in front of the Buffalo goal. You hope it's not in the back of his mind that Marner's got to get an assist on it. You know what I mean? That split second.
Yep.
Like guys do, and you know you got an empty net and you're trying to get it to the guy that could get a hat trick.
Sabres back in their own zone. The pass up on the right wing and in across the line. Peterka with a shot off the shoulder, off the mask of goaltender. But here's Nylander coming back the other way, and he ripped it wide. Rebound on the far boards. I guess Stolarz has got his mask fixed because they haven't stopped play. Nylander comes out of the near corner with it. Nylander back to the blue line. Riley with a wrist shot, gloved by Luukkonen. And now, well, he's got the mask completely off now.
Boy, I mean, this is supposed to be automatic that if goaltender has a problem with the mask or the snap on his mask, that you blow it down. And Stolarz right away put his hand up, and it looked like both of the straps
popped off,
came undone below each ear. And I think Stolarz is still yelling and then realizes the Leafs have got something going at the other end of the ice.
Well, he could have thrown the mask out around the blue line had the puck turned over, right? Leafs win the face-off. Marner fans on a pass and trickles out at center ice.
Well, then if you're Lindy Ruff and the Buffalo Sabres, you're pretty sour at that.
Thompson back in his own zone. A pass off a stick corrals back into the Toronto zone. And Carlo is there to play it back of the net. And here is Dakota Mermis coming out of his own end. He's going to get to the red line and shoot it in. Down the boards, Marner, unable to trap it. Bowen Byram goes around back of the goal. Played it into the near corner. Sabres go back into the boards after it. And Zach Benson carries it around back of his goal and plays it out into the center ice area. But it is trapped there by Toronto. Leafs go back into their own end to regroup. Out comes Chris Tanev. Up ahead to the line and in on the right side. Yarncrook sends it around the boards. It'll find Lorenz in the far corner. Back behind the net. Lawton comes out of the corner. Centers in front. They score! Lorenz set up by Scotty Lawton. And the fourth line gets the job done and gets the Leafs on the board.
And this was a sniper's goal. A one-timer by Lawton in the left wing circle. Or pardon me, by Lorenz in the left wing circle. Lawton does all the work in the corner to the right of Luukkonen. And Lawton throws the backhand pass out just by the hash mark in the left wing circle. And Steven Lorenz just wires this past Luukkonen. So it's the fourth line that comes through for the Leafs here in Buffalo in the second period.
8th of the season for the Kitchener native. And the Maple Leafs have the opening goal and the lead. Puck along the boards. The Leafs get it in over the line. Played into the corner by Yarncrook. And you can hear the Leaf fans chanting in the background. Played in over the line and down into the corner. And the Leafs have it regrouping in their own defensive zone. Tanev for Myers. Myers off the boards and quickly played in deep into the Buffalo end. 5:10 to play in the period. Nice pass by Lawton to set that up too, Jimmy.
And what starts it off is Kelly Yarncroc dumps the puck in. I was actually going to be critical, saying he might have had more time and space to do something with it, but it worked out perfectly.
Now the Leafs get a turnover. McMahon into the slot. Robertson's backhand went high and wide. Riley is unable to keep it in, and it's going to come out into the center ice area where Nylander sets it up. Fired by Brendan Carlo back into the offensive zone. Sabres after it in the far side with Dahlin getting it high and out, and it'll be Mermis back to retrieve it for Toronto. A pass up on the near wing for Nylander. He'll circle back towards his own line. Retraces his steps, then drops it off for Brandon Carlo. Carlo just launching it in. Out of the net, Luukkonen to trap it there for his defense. And Dahlin having difficulties there with Tavares, but is able to free it up. 4:07 to play in the period. Sabres in with a pass on the sharp angle, and that was handled easily there by goaltender Stolarz. Tavares back up the right wing. Cuts to the middle of the ice. Hits the blue line with a pass on the left wing for Domi. Domi sends it back into the corner. Tavares got lifted off his skates by Rasmus Dahlin, and the Sabres are breaking it out at center ice and getting it in over the line. Pass on the right side for McLeod, coming out in front and a shot, and Stolarz takes that away from Quinn, who got it away quickly in the slot. Again, Stolarz makes one good push and gets out into the crease to make the save, and the Leafs have a 1-0 lead on Steven Lorenz's tally. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Your sneakers are staring directly at you. You try to look away, but you can't. You're lace to face. They're saying, Rome wasn't built in a day, and your six-pack won't be either. But you've got to start somewhere. Stop staring. Put us on. Take that first step, or lunge, or squat.
Woo! Let's go, Buds! 1-0. The Leafs are in the lead. I love it. We've got the chat fired up. There's Miss V. There's Miss Brandy. Mark Duffy. Steph Fro in the house. Big Hawk. I love it. Let's get this dub, says soliloquy. All right, there it is. I can read again. All right, great to have you all hanging out with us tonight. Go Leafs, go. Spam it up. We got to help those fans in Buffalo at the Odd. I don't care what the hell it's called now. It's going to it will forever be the Odd in Buffalo. Let's help them out. Chant that chant. Go Leafs, go. Go Leafs, go. Go Leafs, go. Let's get that second goal.
New mind-bending acrobatics, OVO, playing May 1st to June 28th at Lakeshore Boulevard West. OVO thanks its presenting partner, Sun Life. Tickets at CirqueDuSoleil.com.
Steven Lorenz has the Maple Leafs on the board. And we talked, remember, we complained early part of the season, where is the secondary scoring going to come from? And all of a sudden, here in the last quarter of the season, there has been plenty of it.
You still like to see, Bobby McMahon, like we said, 9 straight without scoring, but he has scored in bunches. Nick Robertson got back into the lineup against Columbus, had a 2-goal game.
Draw controlled by the Maple Leafs. Into the corner, Benoit finding Lorenz, who gets it ahead off of Yarncrook's stick. He'll go after it in the corner, but can't reach it. Lorenz is able to free it up. Now Lorenz in against the boards. Yarncrook stole it back to the blue line. Tanev keeping it in. Played around back of the net. Cut off by the Sabres. Stolen back by Yarncrook. Played around back of the net. Here's Lorenz with it curling out of the corner. Stops it up. Looks for Lawton. Lawton in the corner. Fourth line doing a nice job of hemming the Sabres in. A centering effort then was blocked. It comes back to the point. Kept in now by Yarncrook, who plays it back to the net for Lorenz. Couldn't get it out in front. And the Leafs will get a change going, but a great job by the fourth line of hemming the Sabres in. Now on turnover. Leafs back in with Matthews. Into the slot now for Nyes. To Marner. To Matthews. Shot it high. That, I think, might have gone off the mask of Luukkonen. Centering pass. Marner is stopped by Luukkonen. Played back to the blue line. Marner to Myers, a shot. That is blocked. Backhanded to the line by the Leafs. Peterka sends it around, but the Leafs are there again with Riley. Riley into the slot. Matthews whipped it over top of the goal. How many shot attempts has he had? Here's Matthews again. Stopped on the short side by Luukkonen. Puck at the blue line and diving to get it out. Just get it out was J.J. Peterka.
Well, what's the whistle for here now? The Leafs touch the puck.
Did the net come off? Nope, mask of Luukkonen came off.
Well, you called it. Austin Matthews might have rang it right off the melon of Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen in the Buffalo goal, but this all starts after Matthews picks off an errant pass just outside the Buffalo line. Leafs come in. Matthews had the one chance, and then Mitch Marner had an opportunity as well on a one-timer and just missed blocker side.
Matthews with 3 shots on goal and 1 miss. The miss was maybe the best scoring chance he had, other than that last one that exploded off the melon of the goaltender. And now puck bounces into the Toronto bench and goes out of play. What a great job, Lane Lambert and Mike Van Ryan and Mark Savard, Curtis Sanford, all of the assistant coaches of the Maple Leafs should get some credit for the job well done in trying to win the Atlantic Division. Long shoot in, goes down into the zone. Oh, and that was stopped. Another save made by Stolarz. Puck is cleared away into the corner. Good opportunities for Buffalo, and Stolarz comes up with 2 big saves. Sabres with it again, rolling it into the goal crease. And it's knocked away by the Maple Leafs, and they're going to bring it out with Nylander. Tried to get in over the line, but it was turned away. Leafs are able to keep it in. Willie in the corner. Left it back towards the blue line. Sent in for Tavares, but it didn't reach him. Minute 18 to play in the period. 1-0 Toronto. Cross the line to the left wing side. Wrist shot is gloved by Stolarz, and he's going to hold on. The shots are now 21-19 in favor of the Buffalo Sabres.
Boy, Rasmus Dahlin just makes a great great attempt towards the goal, and he throws it out front. So really, for the Buffalo Sabres, the last 2 minutes, probably they've had their better scoring chances in the game. Dahlin, by the way, 4th in scoring among defensemen in the NHL this season, and he's hot. 16 points in his last 11 games coming in.
Draw one by Toronto. Benoit skates it to the line and now rolls it into the corner. McMahon into the forecheck, has his man pinned, but the puck comes free. The Leafs steal and get a wrist shot that went well wide of the net. It'll come out at center ice. Shot high back into Buffalo territory. And Bowen Byram is there. He mishandles the puck, then has to play it up the boards and just get it out. Myers for Toronto. Got it ahead. Pontus Holmberg was tripped. No penalty call. Played off a stick to center. One-handed by McMahon into the zone. Half minute to go in the period. Holmberg along the far end boards. Works back along the wall. Trying to get some help there from Robertson. Robertson, a little toe drag move. Got a shot away, but it was blocked. Robertson on the boards on the far side. Trying to come away with it, but it's going to be taken by Connor Clifton Played around the wall for 10 seconds left. Leafs back into it again, though. Robertson trying to kick it in front of the net. He gets tangled up there with Peyton Krebs. Both of them looking at one another. Nothing more going to happen, and there's the horn that ends the period.
Boy, every line has had moments, haven't they, on the offensive zone? But it's Steven Lorentz who has had a knack for scoring big goals for the Toronto Maple Leafs. The game winner against Colorado, shorthanded in the third period. Game winner late against the Anaheim Ducks. Has he got 5 game winners, Joe?
Out of his 8 goals.
I believe on the season. And, you know, a lot of times you can score the third goal in a 7-2 win, and it falls into the column of the game winner. Other times the game winner comes in overtime or in the third period.
When you need it.
Yeah, when it's a clutch one. And Steven Lorentz has scored some clutch ones for the Leafs.
We will step aside for Jim Taddy and Anthony Stewart with the Leafs leading 1-0. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
I'm Katie Nolan, and I have a new podcast called Casuals. It's a podcast for people who like sports a normal amount. Casuals is a twice-a-week hang with me and my friends from across comedy, sports, and entertainment, where we talk about all the funny, weird, interesting stuff happening in and around the world of sports. So whether you're a diehard fan or just vaguely sports curious, Casuals is the podcast for you. You can find Casuals on the SiriusXM app, Pandora, or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Give it a try.
What's up, Insiders? Second intermission. Let's go. How the Blue Jays doing? The Blue Jays are up 6-1 right now. I love it. Jays are winning. Leafs are winning. Go refill those drinks. Get ready for the second period. We need the chat to be on fire. We have got to make sure that our buds hear us. Can we do that? We're not far. Toronto to Buffalo. Come on, let's go, guys. Let's go. There's Mr. Roboto in the chat. There's the eyeballs, Stefan. Give me the eyeballs, buddy. Where the eyeballs at? I'm here. Who else is here? I love it. Whoop, whoop. CK in the house. I love it. Miss V. Beautiful. Brandy, thank you for that super chat. Thank you so much. Amazing support from Brandy Gale. Big hype. I love it. Oh, man. Andrew just hit the Baltimore. Oh, we're not playing Baltimore. We're playing the Atlanta Braves. Uh-oh. I gotta go change those emojis. Go Leafs, go! We'll see you back in the chat. Get that refill. Let's go. Come on. I need to get some ice. It's time for some ice.
They're within a mile of this playoff run.
The reason you are inconsistent is because you're consistently inconsistent. That's why they are not Tampa, Florida, Washington. I'm not buying it. What's that song? I won't be fooled again.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91.
Hey, Jim Rome here. What's cracking?
Hi.
Hope you're enjoying the game. And when you're not taking in a game, find us on Sirius Channel 161, XM Channel 206. In fact, we'll be there every weekday afternoon, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. If you've got something you want to break down from this game, you know where to find us. Just make sure you have it taken. Don't suck.
Step your game up.
That has never changed. In fact, this show has never changed.
Wait a minute. Pike's in the house? Pikey, what's up, man? Good to see you. Pike's in the house. There's Land King as well. I love it. Very cool. Where do you get the Leafs emoji? Join as a member. 99 cents a month. You click that little join button. If you're on an iPhone, you got to get to a computer. It's a real pain in the butt, but those days are going to come to an end soon, I think. We'll see. See you back in the chat. Go get those emojis. 99 cents a month. Links in the description as well. If you go to the video description, send that to a computer if you're on an iPhone. Pain in the butt. Maybe not worth it. Just type GLG or Go Leafs Go or whatever. We know that you're cheering for our buds. Man, I gotta create something that we can have emojis for everyone. Alright, well, we got that Discord started. Big shout out Maggie Gaming. Go Leafs Go. We'll see you in the chat.
Don't pick out a parade route yet, boys.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91. The world's most thrilling league is now in the palm of your hand. Hear every English Premier League match all season long on the SiriusXM app. Just search for your favorite team.
Smart speaker to listen to TSN 1050 everywhere you want it. Molson Canadian Leafs hockey is on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. The Leafs live here.
Yarncrook sends it around the boards. It'll find Lorenz in the far corner. Back behind the net. Lawton comes out of the corner. Centers in front. They score! Lorenz set up by Scotty Lawton. And the fourth line gets the job done and gets the Leafs on the board.
1-0 for the Leafs over Buffalo after 40 minutes of play. TSN After 40 brought to you by 241 Pizza. Give yourself a high five. Buy any large traditional pizza. Get up to 3 medium one-topping pizzas for $5 each. 241pizza.com. Jim Taddy and former NHLer Anthony Stewart with you, Stu. That was a marvelous goal, and that's what I was sort of alluding to in the last intermission about working plays and waiting for the seam to open, and boom, it was in the net.
Yes, it was a picture-perfect fourth-line type of goal, and it starts in with a cycle, and it just doesn't happen overnight, right? You just got to continue to build and get pucks in and just start to soften up the D, and great job by Scott Lawton. He absorbed some contact, and what was most impressive about that, we talked about his sort of skill set, like he made that pass to the slot to Lorenz on his backhand with two guys on him, so he just shows what type of skill he has. Amazing finish by Lorenz, and, we discussed at the top of the show, how does he not have, 12, 15, 17 goals sort of with that release. But a textbook fourth line type of shift. They've been all over the ice, flying all over most of the game. It's good to see them get rewarded. And these are the type of games where there's not really, a direction on sort of going back and forth, where the fourth line and the third line can sort of assert themselves and take advantage and exploit some of the matchups against some of the team's lower opposition. So great job by the fourth line. Third line has been buzzing too. And Toronto's well on their way to having a third period and securing at least the much needed points.
Yeah, and the rest of the period is a collection of plays by both teams that this should be 4-4, right?
Yes, and right after that goal, Stolarz has to make a literally point blank slot save, literally, and he was looks like he was 4 feet outside his crease, so he's dialed in. It looks like Matthews is poised to score his 400th, knock on wood, obviously, too. He could easily have a hat trick. You saw Marner point blank. Nye is getting some opportunities, so the opportunities are there. But UPL, those aren't boos in the building. That's them saying ooh for UPL. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, but
UPL.
He's been amazing. UPL, excuse me, for shorts, and he's been playing great. He's been nothing short of but amazing tonight as well. So both goaltenders are dialed in, but this is the type of game that Toronto is they're sort of their forte. They're not afraid to just go back and forth, and you see the chances that they are giving up, but off the rush to a man, they're supporting the puck, they're back checking, they have good shot blocking lanes. They're just in the way of the offense, and it's great to see, and it's making it easier for Stolarz. So after 40, I won't say it's an A+, but their B game is raised pretty high, and they're setting themselves up for a positive result.
Well, really, when you go back to, I guess you want to throw in the Tampa win over this, and with Montreal and Carolina tonight. These are a sample size of 4 games where, probably the last 3 are better examples of that, where they're just waiting out, the opposition and taking advantage and not shooting themselves in the foot in any way, shape, or form. This is the kind of stuff that I think we have optimistic, thoughts about what could happen in the playoffs, because this is really taking care of your own business, isn't it?
It's funny when you pay attention to those details, how positive a result it exudes, right? And They did a great job of getting it on the forecheck. And it's not just the fourth line guy. You're seeing Matthews and Marner turn pucks over, having sticks in lanes, having sticks in front of sticks, just, making it harder for the opposition to make a clean play. You're seeing Nyes get in, lead it with his body. So they're playing the fundamentals. The fundamentals are there. And, when the top guys are doing it, it has a trickle-down effect where it forces those bottom 6 guys to get in on the forecheck, get on the back check, make sure you're not blowing the zone, manage the puck. Not many turnovers by Toronto through the first 40 as well. And we talk about different sports. It's like gymnastics, regardless of what your forte is or whatever your routine is, everybody knows how to do a backflip at the Olympics. Same thing with hockey. Everyone knows the fundamentals of defense, and the more that you pay attention to it, the more success and wins you're going to have in this league.
Oh, I like that description. So really what you're saying, Stu, is it's a fairly clean performance, isn't it?
Yes, their floor routine is flawless here. And I don't know about that one where you got like the ribbon. Yes, they're very elegant in their execution.
Stuck the landing. Yeah.
yes. And again, it's funny because I've played on teams that we had to play this way. We didn't have we had one guy 40 goals in an Eric Stahl or Ole Jokinen, but after that we had to win those tight games 3-2 or 2-1. And it's funny. I used to remember, despite our team having not that much success, if we were going into the third period, up 2-1 or 3-1, we'd almost be laughing. Okay, boys, we got it, and we're going to just clamp down here, and we're going to get the win. That's how detailed-oriented we were. But when you have this abundance of offense, yes, sometimes you can lack or slack a little bit on the defensive end of the puck, but when they pay attention to that regularly, it's almost a master class on how to get those 2 points.
That's extremely well said. And when you think about it, to be able to say that about this Maple Leaf team at this point is fairly phenomenal, isn't it?
Yeah. When's the last time they blew a 5-1 lead or a 4-1 lead? Like that was, I think I was still in the league.
Oh no, guy.
Anyways, I scratched that from the record, but again,
okay.
it's good to see.
Well,
it's good to see, and that's why I think it's different, right? And I'm not going to jinx it by saying their record after 40 minutes while leading, but it's very very good.
We'll leave that for Ralphie. 1-0 for the Leafs over Buffalo after 40 minutes of play. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Get in and go to Maple Toyota, home of the 2025 Toyota Tundra. When you need a truck with the power to accomplish any task, go where adventure takes you with the 2025 Tacoma midsize truck, the most powerful, capable, and connected Tacoma ever. Both Tundra and Tacoma available in hybrid models. Visit the showroom for a test drive today. It's time to Toyota at Maple Toyota, near Canada's Wonderland in the Maple Auto Mall. Visit mapletoyota.com.
Part of the Zankin Auto Group. Your sneakers are staring directly at you. You try to look away, but you can't. You're laced to face. They're saying Rome wasn't built in a day, and your six-pack won't be either. But you've got to start somewhere. Stop staring. Put us on. Take that first step, or lunge, or squat. Start small. Start somewhere. Join for $7.99 every 2 weeks at fitforless.ca and experience fitness simplified. Some conditions apply. Fit for Less. Everybody happy.
When you get a Subaru with symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and class-leading safety included, it's like you also get a Subaru that comes with your very own golf club holder, stadium parking navigator, a basketball team transporter, a remote cottage finder, a beaver spotter, a coach hauler, bear country guide, a family road trip carrier, a muddy road controller, extreme wind stabilizer, plus a... And we're out of time. Subaru is the multi-tool that masters every unpredictable weather condition. Visit your local Subaru dealer for great lease and finance options.
Lately, times have been challenging, with many people facing increased interest rates, inflation, and rising credit card debt. Everyone needs a little help from time to time, but it can be hard to ask for help when it comes to your personal finances. But you're not alone. Millions of Canadians share that feeling with you. 500,000 Canadians have found help with their debt, and so can you, with Consolidated Credit Counseling Services of Canada. They are one of the largest non-profit credit counseling organizations in the country, with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. They could help you consolidate your bills into one affordable payment, minimize your interest rates, and get you out of debt fast. No matter how much you owe, you don't need to do this alone. To get help, call 1-800-656-7129. That's 1-800-656-7129. Let Consolidated Credit get you back to a debt-free life. Call 1-800-656-7129. Call toll-free today for a free consultation. 1-800-656-7129. Ontario license number 4705786.
Touchdown. Great catch. Give me a high five. 5 minutes later. Interception. Awesome play. Give me a high five. 2 hours later.
Eddie, did you order 20 high five specials from 2 for $1 Pizza?
You kept asking for high fives.
I meant... never mind. I'm hungry.
High five. Buy any large traditional pizza and get up to 3 medium one-topping pizzas for just $5 each.
2 for $1 pizza. 2 for $1.
The out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by Maple Toyota. You don't have to go out of town for a great new Tundra RAV4 gas or hybrid. Maple Toyota has them in stock and ready to deliver. Visit mapletoyota.com. Here's what we have. Well, the Leafs are going to have to take care of their own business here. Lightning 4-1 over the Panthers. That is midway through the second period. Elsewhere, what do we have? Jersey 4-3 over the Boston Bruins after 40 minutes of play. End of the second, Chicago and Ottawa tied at 3. End of the second, Columbus. Look out, Montreal. Columbus 2-0 over the Flyers. And what else? Washington 2-0 over the Islanders. St. Louis 3-0 over Utah. That's in the first period. The Blues have no option. They have to win. And the Ducks and Minnesota 1-1 after the first period of play. Later on, Vegas and Calgary and the Kings in Seattle against the Kraken. In our game, 1-0 for the Leafs over the Buffalo Sabres after 40 minutes of play. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Here's what's happening on Sirius XM Sports.
NBA play-in games have arrived for the right to gain entry into the traditional playoff bracket. A couple of 7-8 matchups with the Magic hosting the Hawks, followed by the Warriors home for the Grizzlies. It's a play-by-play doubleheader beginning at 7:30 Eastern on your 24/7 home for postseason hoops. Sirius XM NBA Radio Channel 86 and on the Sirius XM app.
Sirius XM Sports. Wherever you are, your team plays here. We deliver the NHL.
And I just wonder, Berkey, what your thoughts are on the Capitals. They are Exhibit A as to why a retool can work.
Yes, but it's early. Haven't had a playoff run yet. A lot of people taking vows right now that shouldn't be. I really like this coach. I think Chris Patrick, the GM, has done a real nice job. It is a retool, right? And the goaltending's been spectacular, but let's see. Don't pick out a parade route yet, boys.
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
NHL Morning Skate.
December 15th, Vancouver Canucks were in the playoffs. And this is when they had that big controversy going on. So they had to do something about it. And they did do something about it. Well, now they're not in the playoffs. You know what? They're not even really close anymore. This is the most absurd season falling apart. The most disappointing team this season of the 32 are the Vancouver Canucks.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
General manager of the Winnipeg Jets, Kevin Cheveldayoff. What would finishing first overall mean to the organization, Kevin?
Well, I think anytime that you can finish in an area where you're getting recognized, it's special. But again, the important thing for us is process. Is when we buy into playing the way we need to play, then we feel comfortable that we'll win more games than not, and then you let the chips fall where they may.
The Power Play weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Maple Leafs won. The Buffalo Sabres no score as we head to the third period. A good second period by the Maple Leafs as they are now in a position to try to clamp things down even more. Shots favor Buffalo 22-19. So the Maple Leafs outshot the Sabres 12-9 in the second period.
A lot more dangerous. There were a couple of moments so that the Buffalo Sabres had some opportunities against Anthony Stolarz, and Stolarz was absolutely brilliant when tested here. But like the games that he's played, Joe, of late, the Leafs have limited those opportunities, right? They don't need 7 or 8 big saves a game. It's about 3 or 4, and Stolarz and Joseph Woll of late have both been able to do that.
Matthews, of course, scored his 60th goal in Buffalo, and place went berserk.
Ray Lorenz having his 8th of the season. His career high is 10. A couple of years ago as a member of the San Jose Sharks. Second year in the league at 8th with the Carolina Hurricanes.
So the Leafs will defend the goal to the right. Sabres to the left. Mitch Marner still looking for his 100th point. Team's ready to get things underway. Puck is dropped, and the Leafs control the opening faceoff. Tanev dropping it back for Benoit. Played ahead off the stick of Nyes. He goes in after it, but it's played around the boards to the far side. Leafs defense pinched to keep it in, but then it's cleared out into the center ice area, and here are the Sabres in across the line. Tage Thompson got it back to the point. The wrist shot is blocked away. Nice rebound. Rebound into the chest of Stolars, and he covers up on that as Rasmus Dahlin stepped into one.
He said Dahlin, I mean, he has been on a tear. 16 points in his last 12 and tied for fourth. And I mean, this is a bomb that he walks in from the left point and lets it go from just above the face-off dot. But you see where Anthony Stolars is? He's challenging.
Out above the crease by the time he makes the save. That's a big body out there, too.
Yeah. Well, you ain't moving to stop it from there.
No.
I mean, it's got to be positioning.
Played out at center ice. Sabres have it back in their own blue line. Backhanded in over the line, but unable to move with it was McLeod. Now the Leafs, Tavares up ahead for Nylander. Right wing side, Willie slops it up. Tried to play it into the corner and does. Domi in front of the net for Riley, and it bounced over his stick. Riley's able to come back and take it away from the Buffalo player and has it under control in his own zone. Leafs are changing. Riley will patiently await that change and now looks up ice and with his head up gets a pass ahead that is deflected in over the line. Lawton went after the puck, tried to center, and it bounced back to the blue line. A wrist shot is blocked away off the stick of Mermis. And the Leafs against the boards back of the net. Here's the fourth line trying to pressure again. Long shot, gloved by Luukkonen. And there'll be a face-off coming in the Buffalo zone as a result.
Hard not to like the fourth line, right? I mean, they've got speed, they've got size, they get in on the forecheck. I know when Scott Lawton came over, it was with the assumption he would be the third line center. But I think if Pontus Holmberg can help Bobby McMahon and Nick Robertson produce a little bit, that's a pretty good trade-off.
Well, they have been playing in the opponent's end a lot since being put together. Face off to the left. Robertson has to take the draw, and he wins it cleanly. Got it back to the point, and a shot was blocked. The rebound lay in front of the net. Sabres get there, and Lafferty will get it to the line, and turning back in his own zone is Rosen, who will get it up on the right wing side and in across the line for Lafferty. Long shot, well wide, is going to carry him all the way back out at center and racing after it. Bobby McMahon. McMahon in on the backhand, tries to center it, but he did. And a shot by Robertson was stopped by Luukkonen. Now another turnover. Robertson has it again. Robertson curls to the far half board, back to the point. Kind of got it in on the slot, and a wrist shot from a sharp angle by McMahon was handled easily there by Luukkonen. Sabres back in their own zone. Bernard Dockler got it up at center. Brought in across the line and laid into the near corner. Hustling in there after it and making a good play there was Riley to take his man. And Riley comes away with the loose puck. And he's going to get it airmailed high into neutral ice and down into Buffalo territory. Luukkonen has to play it off to Dahlin. And the Sabres are back to organize. Up ahead for Thompson. Thompson got it ahead on the left wing. Dahlin dropping it off. Trying to move in there on the wing was Zach Benson, but he couldn't deliver a shot. Now the Leafs get it off his stick. Matthews and Riley up ahead for Nyes. Quickly on for Marner. Marner gets it the rest of the way to the blue line. Sabres with it again. Pass ahead by Samuelson to the right wing side. Thompson a centering pass. That was deflected wide. Rebound came out in front. Nyes was in good position there to make sure Thompson didn't get another whack at it. Leafs get it around the boards to the near side. Not out though. Trapped in and kept in with a pass down low. Shot from a sharp angle. Hit the side of the goal. The puck comes up on the wing, and it is Tavares leaving it for Nylander. Long lead pass. Trying to find Domi that went astray. And it'll be an icing call here against Toronto.
Leafs now have even, finally, shots on goal with the Sabres at 24 apiece. Bobby McMahon and Nick Robertson generating some offense in their last shift. Boy, the speed of Bobby McMahon.
He's a north-south player, though,
yeah.
isn't he?
North-south, big body, good shot. We said it's great you got the fourth line. I mean, that goal by Steven Lorenz in the second period, that is huge going into the playoffs.
Face off to the right of Stolars. And the Sabres win the draw, but they are able to keep the puck in. Domi, though, tucks it out. And now Willie's got a breakaway. Nylander in on goal. Shoots. Glove save made by Luukkonen. And he's able to cover up on a loose puck subsequently.
Boy, I think the most difficult part for Nylander on that, Joe, was getting past the referee, who sort of was backing away in front of him. I don't think he was anticipating this. Willie had to wait till he jumped out of the way. So if there was going to be any cut, Nylander couldn't cut more to the middle of the ice because the referee kept him to the outside in the right wing.
Good defensive play.
Yeah.
Face off in the Sabres zone. Launched high. Where did the puck go? Volleyball to head. It'll be a glove pass. Whistle down in the center ice area.
And that's the right thing to do. I mean, you're looking, where was it in L.A.? You remember when was it John Tavares scored the empty net goal? The Leafs had launched it into the end. The Leafs getting a penalty here. Nylander's going off.
Well, your guess is as good as mine.
Toronto, 88, 2-minute minor, high sticking.
Oh.
Wow. Okay. Second power play of the game for the Sabres, and the penalty kill brought to you by CMC Markets. Take your trading to the next level. $0 commission on stocks. Sabres win the draw and keep the puck in. Played along the boards. Peterka back to the point. Dahlin, a shot knocked down in front of the goal. Another shot stopped by Stolarz. Oh, that net was empty until he flashed that left pad out and made a big save on Peterka.
Boy, and you don't know if he actually even picked this up, Joe, because that was booted around in front of him. Simon Benoit ended up inadvertently kicking it. The Sabres were able to control it once again.
Leafs win the faceoff and backhand it out and down the ice.
It looked like Stolarz was moving to his right. Benoit kicked it to his left, and somehow Stolarz was able to recover and get a pad on it.
Dahlin gets it ahead. Crossed the line for Alex Tuck. He ran into a traffic jam. Played to an empty corner, except Tanev arrives there along with Jason Zucker. Now the puck comes out in front of the net. Zucker has to retrieve it. And back to the blue line, it'll come to Tuck. Tuck works down into the right wing corner. Banks it back to the point. Peterka to Dahlin. Back to Peterka. And again, Stolarz comes across and makes a big-time save. And it is shot out and down the ice. That might have taken a bit of a bite out of Stolarz. I think it hit him in the crux of the arm. Now here the Sabres back in across the line. Knocked down on the play was the Leafs defender there in Lawton, and the puck comes free. Out comes Nyes at center. Nyes in on the wing, had it knocked off his stick there, and then he is tackled. No call? Or is there a call? No, there's no call. Finally got a look at the official. Thompson crossed the line, broken up by the Leafs and chipped out at center ice. Lawton will chase after it and force the puck carrier back behind the Buffalo goal with 15 seconds left in the power play. Bowen Byram got to center and dropped it back. Sabres come through neutral ice. Cross the line for Jack Quinn. Quinn into the left wing half boards. Broken up, but it comes back to the blue line. Broken up again by the Leafs, but they don't get it cleared. It'll come to shot, blockered away nicely there by Stolarz. Into the corner it goes and around back of the net. Quinn let that shot go. In on the side of the net, it goes back of the goal. Penalty is over. Puck into along the boards near side. Benoit knocks his man down, and the puck is up against the end boards with Tanev getting it freed up and on the wing for Nylander. Nylander gets it to Tanev, who gets it out. Leafs will get a change started. Ryan McLeod for Buffalo shoots it back into the Toronto end. Sabres with 28 shots, Leafs with 24. Now McMahon playing it ahead to the line and in, but it's a delayed offside. And it'll be whistled down by the linesman as Pontus Holmberg was trapped in there. Anthony Stolarz doing a wonderful job of penalty killing when he has to. And the Leafs have a 1-0 lead. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Find out who will move on to the UEFA Champions League semifinals on Sirius XM FC. Arsenal shocked the world, dominating the defending champions 3-0 in a first-leg masterclass.
What a night for Declan Rice!
But count out Real Madrid at your own peril.
If there's any team that can pull this off, it is the most decorated European side of all time.
Real Madrid, Arsenal, tomorrow at 3 Eastern on Sirius XM FC 157 and the Sirius XM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
December 15th, Vancouver Canucks were in the playoffs. And this is when they had that big controversy going on. So they had to do something about it. And they did do something about it. Well, now they're not in the playoffs. You know what? They're not even really close anymore. This is the most absurd season falling apart. The most disappointing team this season of the 32 are the Vancouver Canucks.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stiller. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
General manager of the Winnipeg Jets, Kevin Cheveldayoff. What would finishing first overall mean to the organization, Kevin?
Well, I think anytime that, you can finish in an area where you're getting recognized, it's special. But again, the important thing for us is process. Is when we buy into playing the way we need to play, then, we feel comfortable that we'll win more games than not. And then you let the chips fall where they may.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it. There's a chance. Rebound. Caulfield shoots and scores.
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Everywhere you want it.
Anthony Stolarz backstopping the Maple Leafs through that penalty kill and a 1-0 lead. Here in the third period, the game down in Buffalo.
And after coming back after the Four Nations, or I guess just before, right? Came back. It took him a while to get to the level he was playing at when he first became a member of the Leafs in October.
Although his statistics didn't suffer that much, but you're right. Shot from a sharp angle on the Buffalo goal is deflected wide by Luukkonen. McMahon, who's had a couple of good chances. Centering pass by McMahon to Robertson, and Luukkonen made a good glove save there.
One thing that's surprised me with how the Buffaloes handled their goaltending of late. Coming into this game, James Reimer has played 9 out of the last 12.
He was the hottest one.
Yeah, well, he had a great stretch, but I mean, you're so far out of the playoffs at this point, and like we said, it's taken them out of being in the top 3 for a lottery back to the top 7.
Luukkonen here's a win by the Leafs, and a shot blocked in front of the net. Nylander couldn't get to it as it comes to the point. Mermis into the slot area for Domi. Back to Mermis. Mermis works down the boards, took a shot. Sharp angle, but blockered away by Luukkonen. Leafs doing a good job of forechecking here. It'll find Nylander on the far half boards. He stops it up nicely into the corner. Domi working into the corner boards. Double team, but he comes out with the puck. Got it back towards the blue line, but it was deflected and back to the Toronto blue line. Luukkonen was the most valuable player in the Ontario Hockey League with the Sudbury Wolves the same year that he backstopped Finland to the World Junior Hockey Championship. And he was supposed to be the saving grace of Buffalo goaltending that has certainly had its share of wonderful goaltenders for sure. Dominic Hasek can name just one. Fought in on the far side, a pass looking in front of the net, but unable to find Zach Benson. Down along the boards, pushed back to the net by Connor Clifton. Centering pass. Great play by Benoit. He just tied up Yuri Kulich to the point where he could not get his stick on it, and all Stolarz had to do was kind of fish around with the glove there in the blue paint. I got it. We'll just stop play.
And there have been times, Joe, where Benoit would lose that man, where he'd start to drift over to where the puck was. But he knew Austin Matthews was on his way to the puck in behind the net. He knew Tanev was in the corner. So Benoit just sticks with his man.
12:03 to play third period. 1-0 Toronto. Tanev, pass intercepted by Benson. Benson brings it back and shoots it around the boards. It'll come to the near wing. Matthews got a piece of it. Nyes couldn't get it out for him. Kept in there by Paige Thompson. It goes along the boards. Nyes has it now off the glass, but knocked down by the Sabres and brought right back into the zone. Clifton has it knocked away there by Tanev, who turns in the far circle. Tanev out muscles one player, gets to center, and he's going to just roll it into Buffalo territory to allow a change of players. Sabres are back to recover the puck. Dahlin, a long lead pass, trying to explode out in front of the net there. Coming in off the wing was Lafferty, but it was knocked away and into the corner. Lafferty gets it back to the point. Dahlin shot blocked. Rebound in front of the net. Taken to safety by Myers and got out at center ice for Toronto. Leafs are going to flip it into the left wing corner. Trying to get there now is Lawton. Lawton is jammed to the boards with a pretty hefty hit, and the puck is going to come free, and Dahlin will get it up on the right side. Could have been a penalty there, thanks to the Leaf fans.
Yeah, that hit was from behind.
Played out into the center ice area and down into the Leaf end or the Sabre end, and it'll be an icing call.
So right now, the official at that end has called Nylander on a high stick. Got into Nylander's way on a breakaway. And now, Scotty Lawton just got blasted into the boards. Sabres almost make it work, though. It would have been an icing call, but Buffalo player raced to the puck first, coming off the backboards, and had the opportunity on Stolarz. I don't think it got to the net, though, did it, Joe?
I don't believe so. Draw to the right of Stolarz. 10:39 to play in the third, and the Leafs hanging on to a 1-0 lead. A single point by the Maple Leafs is all they need. Up at center ice, Lorenz backhands high into the Buffalo zone. Lawton, little turnaround fair play there as he took a healthy run at the Sabre defenseman. Now the puck at center ice is brought into the Toronto zone. Out of the net, Stolarz to punch it along the boards, and Domi knocks the puck down and is able to carry it out with a pass. Deflected in then by Nylander. Apparently not deflected in by Nylander. They're going to call it icing. And it's going to come back into the Toronto zone as a result. Lawton really got drilled from behind by Rasmus Dahlin. Not that
and you
he's
know
ever
what?
had a incident with a Maple Leaf before.
I don't know how you don't call it. I mean, he's the second Sabre coming in. So it's not as if Lawton was with the first guy battling for the puck. Dahlin comes in delayed and fires Lawton into the numbers, into the board.
Played out at center, but it's gone into the Toronto bench. So they'll face it off again in the Maple Leaf end.
It was Rasmus Dahlin who got into the cross-checking contest with Austin Matthews in an outdoor game that cost Matthews a suspension.
Steven Lorenz's goal. Second period. Standing the test of time so far. Benoit drops it back for Domi. He goes to Tanev. Tanev across off the stick of Tavares down into the Buffalo end. Dahlin sends it around the boards, and now the Sabres with a long lead pass that has gone astray and gone wide of the Leaf goal, and an icing call made by the linesman, and it'll come back into Buffalo territory. Lindy Ruff's team will not make the playoffs. You brought up an interesting stat about the Sabres coaching staff.
Well, the last time, Lindy Ruff obviously was the coach the last time they missed. They did make the playoffs in his extended first time around. But the coach next to him to coach a playoff game was Ted Nolan back in 97-98.
That's something. Leafs can't keep the puck in. It comes to center. Riley gets it ahead. Pontus Holmberg rings the boards. That bounced off the dasher board and came right out in front of the net, but everyone was pretty much surprised by that. Back into the Toronto zone it's sent. Brandon Carlo banks to Riley. Riley flips out at center ice. Leafs are able to come up with a loose puck on the near boards, and as they tried to shoot it in, it was a glove pass that has blown the play dead. And with 9:07 to play in the third period, Steven Lorenz's goal is the only one on the board. The Leafs lead 1-0. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Alpine News.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. I'm talking to you. The new person in the chat, I know. Look at the chat, it's going crazy. But thank you for hanging out with us tonight during a Toronto Maple Leafs game here on Toronto Sports Insider. Well, we do every single Toronto Maple Leafs game here on Toronto Sports Insider, and we're really glad that you found us. You tell them, chat. Welcome. Welcome. Thank you to all the new subscribers. Now, let's get back to the hockey. Don't forget, turn on the bell so you don't miss it when we go live for every single game of the NHL playoffs coming up as part of our Playoff Pulse campaign for SickKids Hospital in Toronto. Now, let's get back to the hockey. Come on, fans. We got to cheer loud. Let's get that chat flying. Go, Leafs, go! Go, Leafs, go! Go, Leafs, go!
New staging and new mind-bending acrobatics. OVO, playing May 1st to June 28th at Lakeshore Boulevard West. OVO thanks its presenting partner, Sun Life. Tickets at CirqueDuSoleil.com.
TSN 1050. Listen anywhere. Listen. Stream your favorite shows in your car. Available on Apple CarPlay via the iHeartRadio app. TSN 1050. Everywhere you want it.
I have to be the commissioner tomorrow night, along with Frankie Corrado of the Wizard Foundation draft that Bob Nicholson puts on with some of his high school cronies that they've done for years and years.
I did it with you a few years ago.
Yeah. So
they never had me back, though.
Hey, I can't tell you what you did. I don't. I mean, I thought you were okay.
You can tell me what you said.
I work cheaper. It's played. Leafs get it out at center with Matthews. Matthews to center and in over the line. Marner tried to flip it back to him. It goes around the boards to the far side. Cannon with a pass in front. That deflected to Marner. Marner backhands it back behind the net. Matthews bumped into Dahlin, and now it is Thompson getting it out at center, and the Sabres will work it through neutral ice. Rasmus Dahlin to the line and in. Onto the right wing side. Thompson loses it. Matthews plays it ahead for Nyes. Nyes gets it down into Buffalo territory. Drop pass stolen in front for Marner, and he fanned on it. Leafs are able to keep it in. Matthews in the corner. Got it around the boards to the near side for Nyes. Nyes does a nice job of shielding the puck. Now it's up against the wall. They battled for it. Marner trying to dig it free as well. Dahlin ran into the official, still has it, tries to scoop it around the boards, and he'll succeed in doing so, getting it down into the Toronto end, forcing Myers back to get the puck in back of the net. Myers on to Nylander. Nylander to the line and in, overskated the puck, and the Sabres get it out at center, only to turn it over again, and Domi brings it back in and flips it into the left wing corner. Nylander goes in there to take his man to the boards. The puck comes free, and out comes Tuck to center ice. Up on the right side and across the line for Clifton. Dropping it back. Good pressure by Tavares on the back check. The puck goes around to the far side. Domi unable to get to it. They'll spin around to the near wing. No defenseman there. They were changing. And Byram has to go back into the Buffalo end with 7:12 to play in the third period. And it is still 1-0 in favor of the Maple Leafs. Trying to clinch the Atlantic Division title. Leafs in their own zone. Mermis for Carlo. Off a stick and into Buffalo territory. Luukkonen leaves it there. Played around the boards to the near wing, and Quinn gets it ahead. Cross the line for Ryan McLeod. He has it taken away by Tanev. Tanev gets it airmailed high to the line and in, and just saved there at the last second by the Sabre defenseman. Shot right back down into the Toronto end. That looked like it was going to be a disaster for the Sabres. Tanev back of the Toronto goal. Starts out after the line change has been completed. Got it ahead across the line for Pontus Holmberg. Dropping in a wrist shot taken by Robertson. Karam's off a skate and goes up into the screen. Out of play.
Now, would you agree with this, that even though we got a 1-0 game late in the third period, all four lines have generated scoring opportunities?
Yes.
I mean, they've all...
This has not been a hanging on.
No. This is, we've seen, McMahon even drew a penalty in the second period. But he's had his opportunities. The fourth line, Stephen Lorenz from Scott Lawton and Yarncroc, the only goal of the game.
Draw one by Buffalo. They play it out and down the ice, and now a skating contest that'll be won by Myers and Riley to produce another icing with 6:06 to play here in the third period, and Marner, Matthews, and Nyes coming over the board. We will be with you on Thursday night, final game of the regular season. Now, I don't have any inside information on this whatsoever, but the rumor mill suggests they will open at home on Sunday. And it would go Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Nyes in across the line. Can't break it up. It comes back to the Toronto blue line. Riley ahead for Nyes with room now across the line. Got it into the corner. Marner unable to reach it. Marner tried to dig it free. Nyes is able to help him out. Chips it back to the blue line. D to D it comes to Riley. Riley back in for Marner. Marner stops on the half board. Centering pass! And Tavares whipped that right away, but Luukkonen took it on the chest and is able to hang on. 5:29 to play, third period. Stephen Loren's second period goal is all that is on the board. 1-0 Toronto. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Because sometimes the music needs to speak for itself. Calm your commute with the instrumental channels on the Sirius XM app. From smooth jazz and epic orchestras to lo-fi beats and high-energy rock anthems. Find over a dozen instrumental channels available anytime. At home, on your phone, computer, Alexa, TV, or other internet-connected devices.
It's soccer's most thrilling league.
Only the Premier League can make you feel like this.
And now every match is on the Sirius XM app.
Can you believe it?
From the title race.
This is remarkable!
Keeps this title charge on track, surely!
To the relegation fight.
The impossible may still be possible.
Hear every English Premier League match on Sirius XM FC 157 and the Sirius XM app. Just search for your favorite club.
We deliver the NHL.
And I just wonder, Berkey, what your thoughts are on the Capitals. They are Exhibit A as to why a retool can.
So happy that you're here hanging out with us tonight. Please do all of the normal YouTube business. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you just found us. Share this link out. Let's build a bigger community than we already have as we approach 100,000 subscribers. Thanks so much. We'll see you back in the chat. Now let's get the chant started. Go Leafs, go! Go Leafs, go! Go Leafs, go!
With your name on it. 5:29 to play, third period. 1-0 Toronto. 27 shots apiece. And this game down in the KeyBank Center, down in Buffalo. Draw to the right of Luukkonen. Tavares had a great chance there, set up by Marner. Trying to play it along the boards. Here's Domi getting it along the wall for Nylander. Back to the point, right wing side. Shot by Myers. Pad save made by Luukkonen. And the Sabres are able to get it out at center. Cross the line for Peterka. Peterka dropping it back, and the wrist shot taken there by McLeod. Rang off a shin pad. Now to Peterka at the near half wall. He works it back into the corner. Centering pass! Oh, and a quick shot taken there by Jack Quinn. Just went over top of the Leaf goal. Leafs get it to the line and out. It's a delayed offside if it's touched, and it is. And this will be brought back out into neutral ice. 4:51 to play in the third period.
Even though the Leafs have had games, they had a 5-0 win over Columbus. That was a game where they scored 3 in the third period to put it out of reach. It does feel like just about every game has had a playoff feel. So
just going to say, they're getting lots of practice at this, and it has been close, low-scoring, tight-checking affairs. Shot into the zone. Stolarz into the corner for his defenseman. Got it up on the wing. Leafs don't get it out, though. And a long shot deflected wide off Stolarz. Cleared to the blue line. And Matthews gets it ahead to Marner with one man back. Marner in for Matthews. Scooped away and knocked it back. And then it comes out in front. Luukkonen didn't see it. Great opportunity for Matthews, who centered. They score! Marner scores! 100 points! Marner with the goal and a 2-0 lead.
It looked like he had it seconds before, and a great feed to Austin Matthews. Matthews' shot doesn't go. But the Leafs, Matthews and Marner on a 2-on-1. And it went off Luukkonen up in the air. And then Matthews was able to knock it down off the boards and get it to Matthew Nyes, back to Matthews, and he spins it out to Mitch Marner, who's wide open to the left of Luukkonen. And Marner snaps in. Goal number 27, point number 100 on the season to give the Leafs a 2-0 lead. And we joke that if there's an empty net, you would have Mitch Marner and John Tavares on the ice. Tavares at 38 goals, but now Marner's already scored the magical 100th point, and that moves him ahead of Connor McDavid in league scoring to 4th in the NHL. Austin Matthews has hit the 100-point mark twice in his career.
Darryl Sittler did it twice. Doug Gilmour did it twice. Marner came so close a year ago.
Well, 2 years ago,
2 years ago, sorry. And yet here he is. As a shot from the point is stopped by Stolarz, and he quickly smothers the rebound to bring a face-off in the Toronto zone.
You did not. Like we said, 2 years ago, he had the 99th point in the third last game of the season. Couldn't get point number 100 on the road in Tampa or at Madison Square Garden in New York. So it's nice that he doesn't have the pressure of Thursday.
No.
Try to hit that milestone.
Well, he may not even play Thursday if the Leafs were able to figure out a way to get around the salary cap somehow. 3:43 to play third period. A long lead pass to center is launched high into the Toronto end. The Marlies are battling just to get into the playoffs as well in the American Hockey League, so there may not be a lot of wiggle room, if you will, within the organization. Lorenz dropping it back off a skate, played back into the Toronto end for Morgan Riley. Off the glass and sent to center, and Tavares sends it the rest of the way into the zone. 3:07 to play. Not sure how early Luukkonen might come out, if in fact he will, as the Sabres get it to center and now across the line. Kulich works in, trying to drive the net with Benson. It comes in front of the goal. Down to Stolarz. He stopped that. They're still looking for the puck. And Anthony Stolarz has stuffed it down at front of the net and got a glove on it on a wild scramble in front of the Leaf goal.
I think he gets his right shoulder on that chance in tight, Joe. Or it bounces off Chris Tanev, but that puck popped up into the air and back down. Boy, it might have even hit the goalpost and bounced back into the crease, and Stolarz was able to get his glove on it and hold it out. But the Sabres, with some late pressure here, trailing 2-0. Boy, that was just a mad scramble in front.
6 attackers now for Buffalo. 2:49 to play. Draw is flipped high down the ice. Will it have enough to go for icing? Yes. It got on edge, and instead of rolling to its left towards the net, it rolled to its right and went over the goal line.
Big Columbus looking at the out-of-town scoreboard up on Philadelphia 2-0.
Oh, Montreal gonna have. They aren't backing in, are they?
No, they're in Carolina, and then Columbus will finish against the New York Islanders. Columbus has to win both in regulation. Montreal has to.
Sabres win the draw, and a wrist shot is blocked, but kept in by Thompson. Pad save, rebound! Oh, and Stolarz went across and made the save. He's without a stick now, though. The puck on the near boards. Centering pass off his stick. It comes back to the blue line. Stolarz has gotten his cue back in his hand. Back to the point it goes. Walking the line, Dahlin. One-timer on the far side. Pad save, Stolarz. Rebound in front, Stolarz again. What a save that was. Cleared to the line, not out. Thompson a drive. Stolarz, stop that. Thompson again with it. Near side. Pass intercepted. Leafs get it ahead. Marner to Lawton. Lawton to Marner. Dropping it back instead of shooting it was now Matthews. Still with it. Shoots and scores. Someone needed to decide who needed the next point.
Boy, Lawton had the chance, decides, no, I'm going to give it to Marner, who says, no, I'm going to give it to Matthews. Leafs ended up coughing it up before Matthews got it back. I think it's going to be an unassisted goal now, but that is goal number 400 in the career of Austin Matthews. And I think Dahlin has got to get an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, because he just slams his stick over the crossbar. And actually, when he tried to do it again, almost hit a Leaf going to the net. And that was Mitch Marner was going to the net, Joe, to pick the puck up for Matthews. And Dahlin had just missed him, slamming it down on the crossbar. Snapped his stick, but we can check off a couple of milestones now. Marner's 100th point of the season. Austin Matthews' 400th career NHL goal.
18:06, the time of the goal for Matthews. Into an empty net, number 400 in his ridiculous career. Sabres keep the puck in with 1:27 down into the Toronto end. Cleared to the line, and McMahon gets it ahead and down into Buffalo territory. Here's Robertson in alone, scores! The floodgates have opened in Buffalo, and the little shop of horrors is no longer. Nick Robertson makes it 4-0.
You look at the silver lining in what could have been rather dark clouds. The injury to David Kemp, the injuries to Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Jake McCabe have provided opportunities. First for Nick Robertson, who scored 2 against Columbus when he got into the lineup when Kemp was first injured. And now has his 3rd goal since Kemp has been out of the lineup. And Dakota Mermis and Philip Myers, Joe, have been quietly spectacular.
Absolutely.
Filling in.
Nick Robertson with his 15th goal of the season, and they're celebrating in the stands down in Buffalo as it is deflected down into the Buffalo end. Robertson scores at 18:43. So at 15:39, Marner from Matthews, and Nyes for his 100th point. Then the 400th career goal for Matthews at 18:06. And Robertson has added insult to injury for the Buffalo Sabres as it is flipped out at center ice. One little bit of business to tend to here for the Maple Leafs. 4-0 they lead. Played back into the slot area down in the Toronto zone. Played off the boards to the left wing side, and a shot is swallowed up by Anthony Stolarz. He will stop play with 9.5 seconds to go.
So the Battle of Ontario is renewed. And I guarantee you, players are going to be over-asked about something that happened 25 years ago. That
none of them were, half of them weren't even born yet.
Yeah.
They're going to have to drag Darcy and everybody else out of it. Final seconds tick down. Anthony Stolarz, another shutout back-to-back. The Maple Leafs win it by a score of 4-0. They are Atlantic Division champions and are going to have home ice advantage through at least the first round. No, the second round as well.
Yeah, let's hope we're talking about that. But for Anthony Stolarz, 12th shutout of his career, 4th of the season, and Joe, his 3rd in the last 4 games. Talk about heading into the postseason on a high note. And even scarier, it's his 5th career game against the Buffalo Sabres. He's now 4-0-1. 3 shutouts in the 5 games against Buffalo. But from the Leafs, again, workmanlike. They weren't great in the first period offensively, but didn't give up a whole lot. Anthony Stolarz was there when they needed him, and then some. He was at times forced to be spectacular in this one, but the Leafs got some offensive push from all 4 lines. 3 of them ended up scoring. It was just the Tavares line that did not end up on the score sheet for the Leafs tonight, but all 4 lines had opportunities in the Buffalo zone, and the Leafs no longer have to worry about what Tampa's doing, and they were up 4-1 on the Florida Panthers after 2 periods. That could have made things interesting on Thursday night had the Leafs not been able to prevail tonight in Buffalo. And as we mentioned, we're not done with scoreboard watching as Columbus defeats Philadelphia 3-0. A regulation win for Columbus on Thursday and a regulation loss for Montreal and Carolina. And the Blue Jackets somehow find themselves into the postseason. And it'll be interesting to see, what does Carolina do? Like, do they have enough extra guys and cap space to rest some people? Or is Montreal going to have to go into Carolina and try to steal one? Leafs did it. Yep. Carolina had the, up until the Leafs went in there, fewest losses
on home ice. Yes. So it will be an interesting couple of days. But the Maple Leafs have, in workmanlike fashion, carved themselves into first place in the Atlantic Division. And down the stretch they go with a very, very impressive record.
I know we've already talked about the 400 goals for Austin Matthews. We've talked about the 100 points for Mitch Marner. But with the road win, it is their 25th road win of the season, which eclipses the franchise mark set last year when they won 24 road games. So for the Leafs, 25, 13, and 3 on the season. Franchise record for most wins away from home.
Just when they really don't need home ice advantage, they get it. Is that what you're saying?
I think they'd always take home ice.
I think so. We'll step aside and invite Jim Taddy and Anthony Stewart to bring you the post-game show with an invitation to join us for Game 82 on Thursday night when the Maple Leafs will host the Detroit Red Wings. You've been listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
The NFL Draft is coming, and the place for the latest information is SiriusXM NFL Radio.
This guy's decision-making is impressive.
Our experts will tell you what your team needs.
They've got to get better around Geno Smith.
And which players will make an impact.
Cleveland, they might already say the number one's going to be Ward, so we got to be prepared. Who do we like it to the most?
SiriusXM NFL Radio gets you ready for the NFL Draft on Channel 88 in the car and on the SiriusXM app.
Thanks. What's up, insiders? Okay, there's the camera. What's up? All right, I got the Blue Jays hat on now because the Blue Jays are struggling a bit here, ladies and gentlemen. We're in the top of the ninth. There's 2 down. We're about to wrap it up. The Jays are about to finish off the Atlanta Braves. Our buds are now the Atlantic Division champions. Your 2025 Atlantic Division champions, and you see it right here in the chat. You all are the best. Every single one of you hanging out in here, you are a rock star. You are helping change the world one insider at a time. Playoff Pulse is underway, ladies and gentlemen. We are underway with the Playoff Pulse. Firing up the other computer now. The Orlando Magic are up by 10 over the Atlanta Hawks with 9:33 to go in the fourth. There. So that one will be wrapping up. We're starting up the other game as well. There now, I just finally popped up on the TV over here with the live going. But thank you all for a great night. And one last time, a huge shout out to Jaron, man. You're a rock star, dude. Thanks for hitting that subscribe button, buddy. I'll get in touch with you soon, and we'll figure out some stuff here going forward. Cheers to the chat. Man, look at this chat. Mark Daigle, great to see you, Mark. And Mark Duffney as well. Great to see the Mark D's in the house. There's Dr. Dupree as well. Cheers, Dupree. Good to see you. Brandy Gale. Hey, Haley's comment. Wow. What a super chat from Korea. That is so cool on the subway. Thanks for hanging out with us, Haley's comment. Thank you for finding us, and thank you for that amazing support. Speaking of that support, look at that. Don D in the house with the $5 super chat. Says 2025 Atlantic Division champions, our Toronto Maple Leafs. Let's go. Yes, that sounds good. And everybody here in the chat, this team is different this year. This team is different. I will say that because over these years, even the past couple of years, I haven't been as fired up as I am this season. With Coach Berube behind these gentlemen, and hopefully the maturing and the toughness will come out more in the playoffs like it has in the regular season. We're on to some good things. Stefan, my man Steph, I see you, buddy. Steph, you're awesome, dude. Thank you for hanging out with us. And thank you for doing what you do in the chat. A big shout out to Carmen. She's holding down the Jays chat over there. That's where everybody was like, where'd Carmen go? Where'd Carmen go? Lisa Aiello's here holding it down. I love it. There's Mr. Roboto with the wrench. Lisa, 332 likes. Nice job. All right, we're going to let the post-game run. Thank you, Lisa, for reminding everyone to hit that like button. We're going to keep that number going on up in the playoffs. Let's get to the Leafs highlights and the post-game show. I'll let it run before I send you to the NBA playoffs and the playoff pulse for SickKids Hospital in Toronto. Go Leafs, go. Good night, everybody. Atlantic Division champions. Man, that sounds good. Go Leafs, go.
A team record for road wins, 25 on the season. Welcome to Leafs Game Night, the post-game show. 4-0 is the score. Getting there was all the fun. Anthony Stewart is with me, and, of course, Ralphie hanging around. Ralphie, this is, lately it's been somewhat inspirational because they I'm not going to say plod their way, but they work their way through the game and then rise to the occasion. It's kind of fun to watch, isn't it?
Yeah, and maybe one of the common themes is they seem to get better as the game goes on.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of weather the storm in their own end. I think when it's said and done, Anthony Stolarz did more than you would have liked him to have to do in this game. I thought, we've talked that a lot of times if you play well, it's only 3 or 4 big saves you need. He probably gave them 7, 8, maybe 9. And you know, at times when the Leafs, even after they've gone up 2-0, made some big stops. But you know, you're going to hear the word a lot. We kept stuck with our game, kept our structure. We were patient. We didn't chase the game. We didn't try to force things. And now they've got that, it seems they've got that swagger that this is how we win. And whether we're down a goal, you know, whether it's scoreless, we saw in Carolina, it took them a while to get going. 1-0 win against Montreal at home. Where they seemed at least in control of the game until it ended. So there seems to be a real belief that this is the formula to win hockey games. And they're only going to get harder from here on in. But I think pretty important step for them going into the playoffs.
It's really tough to pit one milestone versus the other. So I guess we'll start with the first one. Mitch Marner getting his first 100-point season. How impressive has it been with, you know, all the outside noise? Like, are you surprised that he had this great of a season? And, you know, do you see him carrying this over into the final game and obviously the playoffs?
Yeah, well, I think he's got to. I mean, and for a number of reasons, personal and, you know, for the team. And I know, and Jimmer and I have talked about this on his show as well, that you could look at this as, you know, all kinds of questions. What's he going to do in the offseason? What's going to happen? And you haven't locked him up. I think this is the best case scenario. And I mean for everybody. Mitch Marner wins the Conn Smythe Trophy. He can pretty much write his own ticket anywhere, and that includes Toronto. And I think Leaf fans would take that scenario, wouldn't they? You know, have him take the Leafs all the way to the finals, and it's something that Mitch Marner is absolutely capable of doing. So I think it's a great scenario to have, and then worry about everything after it's done if you do in fact achieve that. So to answer your question, I guess, Stewie, no, I'm not, because I think it's once he's made the decision, and it appears that he was going to play out this season and worry about contracts afterwards. To me, that was a belief in what he can do. So not surprised that he was able to hit the 100-point mark. 2 years ago, he had 99 points with 2 games left. They finished in Tampa, in New York against the Rangers, and he wasn't able to do it. So nice that he was able to get it out of the way tonight with and maybe enjoy the game against Thursday Detroit if he's in the lineup.
Well, and even the way all the milestones were hit today they were part of the game. So we talk a lot about how the team is different, and we should, because it is different. But individually, I mean, how would you equate to how Marner plays now to how he has in the past? And he was always a very good hockey player, but he looks different too, doesn't he?
Yeah, there seems to be a little more grit. You know, a little more, not playing on the outside. You see him getting on the forecheck with Austin Matthews and Matthew Nyes. I think he was the leader in takeaways, if I'm not mistaken. And that is, when you have that stat as a forward, that's because you're willing to get in and engage on the forecheck. You're not sitting back, playing on the outside. And I think that's something that Mitch Marner has been, I don't want to say better at, but certainly more noticeable this season and more successful with his 2 line mates.
I get a bit of a chuckle when I sort of hear some of the headlines of Austin Matthews having an offseason, scoring his 400th goal, 6th fastest of all time, right? In elite company, the Bossies, Lemieux, Curry's, Gretzky, like that's nothing short of amazing, just sort of the pace that he's on. And, could you imagine if he had 50, 60, just sort of what the headlines would have been if that was the case?
Yeah, but Stewie, I think it's great that it didn't happen. I think it's great that it's not like what we're seeing in Washington. It'll be interesting to see how Washington does in the postseason, because after the Ovechkin goal, and it is a big deal. I mean, you totally get why there was a celebration, but as we saw with Matthews when he had the chase for 70, sometimes that takes on a life of its own, and you get away from what the goal of a team is, and that doesn't mean you don't try to break records or you don't try to score 70 goals in a season. But sometimes that, through the media and everything else, and everyone is hoping for it so bad. Let's put it this way. Matthews' 400th goal tonight. How well did that go when people were trying to make it happen on the empty netter? You had, Lawton to Marner, back to Matthews. That didn't go, and then Matthews was able to get it back. But, sometimes you can see where that does become a distraction. And it's, there's no way to guard against it. It deserves to be recognized and followed the way it has been. But I think it's a good thing from a Leaf standpoint, where it was more about the team, and they did win something. They won their division. It's not the be-all, end-all, but I think it's something that you look around and say, look, we're in a tough division with Tampa and Florida. And, despite our warts and our tough times during the regular season, we came out on top.
So let's go back to Stolarz. We did that game in L.A. March 29th, and I remember the post-game he was talking about working with Curtis Sanford, and he was marvelous that night. But before that, he was way back in his crease. I think you detailed that. I mean, he really has reconfigured himself, hasn't he?
Yeah, and let's not forget, Joseph Wall's been good his last 2 or 3 starts as well. Since the San Jose game, Wall has had some great starts. The win in Carolina on Sunday, second, a quick turnaround and back-to-backs. But yeah, we're starting to see Bucks being out in the slot, and you see Stolarz back at the top of the crease. And when you've got that size, and he is quick. And Joe and I were talking about, you remember Ben Bishop was a big goalie, but Bishop wasn't great post to post. And Anthony Stolarz is. He's very agile for a big man. And but when the confidence isn't always there, you always end up hanging a little bit deeper in the net, thinking that'll give you an extra split second to react. And what you see now is Stolarz and Joseph Wall as well. We saw it, especially against Carolina. They're back out at the top of the crease. Now, a big part of that is when there's no backdoor play, that that your defense has everyone covered, and you worry about the shot, they'll take care of the rebounds. They'll get sticks and lanes to, keep from you getting beat by over-challenging. So I think, they're kind of a byproduct of the way that the Leafs have played in front of them.
Nick Robertson, is he on your Game 1 lineup?
Yes. Yeah, and that's one of the things, when Joe and I were talking at the end of the game, that, the silver lining sometimes in some dark clouds can be the fact that guys get an opportunity because of injuries. We've seen it with Nick Robertson. Now he scores the first time since getting back on the lineup when he had 2 against Columbus. But Dakota Mermis and Philip Myers, you got to give them a lot of credit as well, because they've just stepped right in. They've kept things simple. I think Mermis was, about 13 and a half minutes, and Myers was, I think Philip Myers was about just under 16 minutes tonight. And you've got to be thrilled with the way they've played. That they've stepped in and, kind of that plug and play that a lot of good teams have. That with the structure there, guys can come in and contribute. And very quietly, you go into the postseason, injuries are going to be a part of it at some point. I think it was so important for Robertson, Mermis, Meyer to all get some playing time here late in the season before the playoffs.
We've talked a lot over the years about the 60-minute Leaf game, and you don't see it often. And I don't know if that's a concern for anybody, but what we saw tonight was the full roster. I mean, everybody did something, didn't they?
Yeah, every line, even though the Tavares line was the only line that didn't score, every line had their moments offensively. And what I really liked is and even it was the goal by Steven Lorenz that turns out to be the game winner. That's a dump in. It looked like Jaron Kroc might have been able to make a play coming over the line on the right wing boards, but he dumps it in. And Lawton goes in, wins the battle, and gets it out to Steven Lorenz. And you love the fact that they've kind of gotten away from, we've got to make 6 passes to get it over the blue line and come up with a great play. There's a lot more dump and chase in their game, and they've won their fair share of fights for pucks along the boards and created scoring chances because of it. So it's almost, you go back to what Craig Berube said coming into the season, I'm going to want them to play a little different. And that's what they've been able to do. You still got to do it now at a higher level in a few days, but certainly encouraging.
You prefer a Saturday or Sunday start?
Well, no one's ever asked me that before, Stewie.
I didn't want, again, I didn't have any more pertinent questions, right? So.
I just about.
What do you think of the forecheck?
I was just thinking, like, when I played, nobody ever asked me. Where would you rather start? It would be like usually halfway through the second if the first guy got hurt. But I think Sunday. I think you want a couple of days. Ottawa plays Thursday as well, but I think I think one day off before the playoffs start is a pretty big ask.
Yeah, quick turnaround. Ralphie, speaking of quick turnarounds, thanks very much.
All right, Jimmer, we'll see you Thursday.
Absolutely, you will. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, guy. Thanks, Stewie.
Jim Ralph, kind enough to hang around. I'm going to go to the game Thursday night just because I'm not working it, but I just want to watch it. I can actually be in the press box and watch it as a spectator. This was a good win. We sort of try to describe what we're watching, and this is a team that has a game plan that goes about their business and takes care of business. They don't shoot themselves in the foot, do they?
Yeah, this is the team that's, and again, I always revert to the playoffs, but again, they've proved a lot of people wrong just sort of with their consistency. And you can say this group does have an identity, right? Over the years past, there's been some confusion or some criticism of them, not necessarily sticking up for each other, getting pushed around. And again, they've been on the offensive, I believe, most of the year in that sense of the word. They, at times were, giving up leads. They were, playing loosey-goosey. The power play was struggling. They found found a way to correct most of their mistakes throughout the year. And yes, it wasn't a complete package off the start. It took a while for them to adjust. But as the season rolled along, you started to see exactly what this system was. And now you're seeing essentially it start to peak and be a complete finished product where they're not going to go run and gun, the first couple shifts of the game and trade chances. They're going to wait for their opportunities and strike when the iron's hot. Or, you know what, they'll just sort of play that system, protect the puck, protect the middle, protect the interior, and wait for their opportunities once their talent starts to take over. And that was the case. We were like, which way is it going? But you saw the build. You saw the build with the first line, especially Marner and Matthews. You knew it was just a matter of time before they took over the game. And in the third period, that's when they did it.
Absolutely. 4-0, the Leafs win in Buffalo. This is Leafs Game Night at TSN 1050, the iHeart Radio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuss shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Switching your winter tires back to all seasons is a great time to visit Maple Toyota. They'll store your winter tires and ensure your all seasons are good to go. If new ones are recommended, Maple Toyota has top names like Goodyear, Dunlop, and Michelin, all backed by their price match guarantee. For all your tire needs, trust the experts at Maple Toyota, near Canada's Wonderland in the Maple Auto Mall, and mapletoyota.com.
Part of the Zankin Auto Group.
Touchdown. Great catch. Give me a high five. 5 minutes later. Interception. Awesome play. Give me a high five. 2 hours later.
Eddie, did you order 20 high five specials from 2-for-1 Pizza?
You kept asking for high fives. I meant, never mind. I'm hungry.
High five. Buy any large traditional pizza and get up to 3 medium one-topping pizzas for just $5 each.
2-for-1 pizza. 2-for-1.
Leafs Game Night. The Leafs close off their road season 4-0 in Buffalo. Mitch Marner gets his 100th point, and here he is post-game, first asked about what he liked about the performance tonight.
Well, I thought tonight, again, we stayed patient through our stuff. I thought we played a real round game. Didn't force too many things. We just played our systems. The team's got a lot of offense, can make you pay in a lot of ways. And I thought when we needed big saves, Stolier was, again, there like always. And, some big goals from, our bottom two lines.
What does it mean to you to get 100 points?
It's a special thing for sure. Those accomplishments don't happen by yourself. And that's, just credit to a lot of guys in that locker room that have helped me out and supported me through this year, and have made some unbelievable plays for me and have put some in from my passes. So, I think the really cool thing is just the excitement from the guys for that point, and seeing their excitement for me. So that was really cool, just experience.
Given everything you've done with Austin, it's fitting he set you up for that little pitch.
Yeah, definitely. I was just saying to Mark that, I knew his next goal was 400. Of course, we get a 2-on-1 there, and I didn't even think about shooting that puck at all. So I tried to get it over to him. He got a quick shot off. It almost went in, and what an unbelievable pass from him to hit me back door, and lucky enough I was able to finish it off.
With the way you guys have been playing and keeping things defensively sound. in keeping things defensively sound, how do you think you're better positioned this year going into the playoffs?
I think we're just buying in maybe a little bit more in that defensive zone system. I think a lot of credit goes out obviously to Lawton's line as well. I think offensively what they've done with the puck in the O-zone cycling, the responsibility they've taken on defensively of taking big D-zone draws and snapping them back and really just buying into that role has been awesome as well. So that line's been unreal for us since they got together. We're just, we're talking a lot in our D-zone. We're trying to make plays out of it, and we're doing that. That's when we're playing well.
Did you have a lot of friends and family make the drive for this one?
I was just saying that I'm a real late planner, so around like 11 o'clock, I think it was last night, I was texting a couple of my buddies and, decided to see if I forgot it was honestly a Tuesday. I thought it was a Saturday because that's usually when we come in here. But yeah, I just said, if I can get you guys a party bus down here, what's you guys thinking? And they jumped on it right away. And luckily enough, I had 6 of my buddies and my brother come down, and it'd be cool to go up in the crowd and celebrate with them. And just it was fun seeing their celebration in the crowd as well.
Will we go back on the party bus?
I don't think that's allowed. I don't know. That's a great question. That'd be a lot of fun, but I don't know if that's. I don't know if that will fly.
How does the Battle of Ontario sound in the playoffs for you?
Yeah, great. Obviously they're a very good team over there. They make a lot of great plays. They make it hard on you through the neutral zone and their D zone. So, hey, we got to be ready for that. We'll do our scouting and figure out ways that we can work around it.
You grew up a Leafs fan. Do you have any memories of the Battle of Ontario?
I knew this question was going to come right now. I'm drawing a blank, and I'll answer that next time for you guys.
Mitch Marner, 100 points, joins a very select group of Maple Leafs to do that. It's been done 7 times and done by 3 other players, so that tells you that everybody who does it more than once. They do it twice. And he's almost done it twice because he was at 99 before. I just think this is a marvelous story. And I like what you said earlier about, just blossoming at the right time, because that's exactly what this feels like.
He's hitting his stride, and he's been very consistent, right? I think he's second, probably third or fourth, I think, in assists, and one of, 5 players in today's National Hockey League that has 100 points. So he's been consistently consistent, and for me, I was waiting for this storyline on the contract, and it took until the trade deadline for that to happen. So he compartmentalized all that noise and focused on being the best version of himself. So he's done everything he's done. He's come in, he's led this team in points. He's been a catalyst on the power play. He's been killing penalties. He's been a driver, and I'm very surprised that he's thrived in this market with all this pressure and sometimes negative attention. So I think if he now carries this, into the playoffs, I honestly, my prediction is if they go, to the conference finals, I believe, I think the narrative shifts, and I believe he signs here long term. I think for him, it's just maybe some of the pressures of the failures of years past. That's sort of been the issue. But anyway, you dice it, and again, there's tremendous players on this team. He is a top 5, top 7 winger in the whole entire National Hockey League. So yes, there is a price tag attached to that, but I think we just need to sort of appreciate 100 points, but just how consistent he's been in the regular season. And sometimes it's taken for granted when you have amazing players like Nylander and you have Austin Matthews, one of the top goal scorers on pace for all time, and John Tavares. It's easy to sort of have him sort of fall to the wayside or to the background, but he's been tremendous, and he's been a world-class player for the last 4 seasons.
I have to say, in the games we do when we're covering them, obviously some tight spots like Saturday against Montreal, but there's never really a doubt in my mind that they're going to figure out how to do it. Like in the past, I would have sort of wondered if they could have done it, but I kind of believe that they have that about them.
Yeah, and it's just when you're about to press that panic button, they find a way just to overcome, right? And you look at, that top line, the last couple of games, you're like, or can they really, are they taking a backseat to, Willie Nylander and John Tavares? And they've shown that they are the go-to line. They are drivers. They can take over and dominate games just sort of with the plays that they're making on a consistent basis. So, yes, playoffs is a different beast, but there's just so many pieces here. You look tonight where you're sort of looking around who's going to get something done. Boom, the 4th line comes in, makes a big play to get the game's first goal. So, again, I like the consistency, and it's not just 1 or 2 guys. There's 5, 6 guys that have had really solid seasons. So, if I'm Ottawa, yes, they have some tremendous players, Stützle, Tkachuk, and, they have some other players, Cousins playing some great hockey, but I don't know if they have the relative depth that Toronto has. And when I mention depth, it's not just the forwards or the D, it's the complete package, goaltending, system, defense, and top-end scoring. So it's early, and I know there's still one more game in the season, but to handicap it, I think the Toronto Maple Leafs have a significant advantage going into the first round versus the Senators.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Battle of Ontario next. Leafs win 4-0 in Buffalo. This is Leafs Game Night on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
I'm Katie Nolan, and I have a new podcast called Casuals. It's a podcast for people who like sports a normal amount. Casuals is a twice twice-a-week hang with me and my friends from across comedy, sports, and entertainment, where we talk about all the funny, weird, interesting stuff happening in and around the world of sports. So whether you're a diehard fan or just vaguely sports curious, Casuals is the podcast for you. You can find Casuals on the SiriusXM app, Pandora, or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Give it a try. What's the worst that could happen?
NHL Morning Skate.
December 15th, Vancouver Canucks were in the playoffs. And this is when they had that big controversy going on. So they had to do something about it. And they did do something about it. Well, now they're not in the playoffs. You know what? They're not even really close anymore. This is the most absurd season falling apart. The most disappointing team this season of the 32 are the Vancouver Canucks.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
General manager of the Winnipeg Jets, Kevin Cheveldayoff. What would finishing first overall mean to the organization, Kevin?
Well, I think anytime that, you can finish in an area where you're getting recognized, it's special. But again, the important thing for us is process. Is when we buy into playing the way we need to play, then, we feel comfortable that we'll win more games than not. And then you let the chips fall where they may.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. We deliver the NHL.
And I just wonder, Berkey, what your thoughts are on the Capitals. They are Exhibit A as to why a retool can work.
Yes, but it's early. Haven't had a playoff run yet. A lot of people taking vows right now that shouldn't be. I really like this coach. I think Chris Patrick, the GM, has done a real nice job. It is a retool, right? And the goaltending's been spectacular, but let's see. Don't pick out a parade route yet, boys.
SiriusXM, NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
And 1050, everywhere you want it.
Leafs game night. Leafs take care of business 4-0. They win in Buffalo. They own the division title and will open against Ottawa on a date that we don't know right now. They'll figure that out late Thursday night after the season is over, and that'll come out like right after the last game is played. And Friday morning when you wake up, you'll figure it out as the rest of us will. But home ice, and we it guarantees them home ice for at least 2 rounds, which is a great thing to say. And I think in the past, if you had said that, but you couldn't say it because they didn't win the division, although there was that year in the COVID year, you wouldn't even think about what would happen in the second round because you were so stuck in the first. And that's another thing that's different. I don't think there's a lot of concern about, obviously it's going to be a tight series, but I don't think there's any concern about the Leafs ending their season early this year.
Yeah, well, history doesn't repeat, but it often rhymes, right? So we know sort of how the Bottle of Ontario has gone over the years, but obviously it's a different generation, different era. But for me, again, the one thing I'm worried about is, for Ottawa, just, all that scratching and clawing and the ability that they had to, the effort that they had to put in to get into the playoffs. Are they going to run out of gas? But they're running on full steam ahead, and they've had some great players playing some great hockey as of late too, and we're seeing Allmark, sort of drag this team into the playoffs with his play. We know what Tkachuk does. We saw what he did at the Four Nations. He's going to be a handful with his 29 goals and 59 points. Stützle, 70 points. They have Giroux, Chabot, Pinto, Norris, Jake Sanderson, one of the best young defensemen in the league. Batherson having a career year. So they have pieces as well. But when it comes down to it, and I'm doing my assessment, it's like when the Leafs bring their A game, it's tough. It's very, very difficult because it comes in waves. It forces you to take penalties, and that power play is very, very lethal. But ultimately, their last line of defense, their goaltending has been excellent. And just going back to Stolarz, 8-0-0 in his last 8 starts. And I think he's got 3 out of his 4 shutouts this year in the last 4 games. So he is peaking at the perfect time, and that's part of the playoffs. Guys are starting to peak. They're starting to find their game, and they're starting to produce. So that's why, to answer your question, it's, if I'm Toronto, yes, it's going to be a tough series, but I'm not worried as opposed to if they're playing a Tampa Bay or a Florida Panthers team that's looking to get healthy.
I think with all that objectivity, if you went through the Leafs roster and all the components of the team, you might have areas that you would like to improve on, but I don't think you'd have major concerns, right?
Not necessarily, right? But for me, like Ottawa is a really decent team, right? And you look at some of their third line. Pinto's in the middle there. He's got 20 goals, right? And Greg has been there in Amadio. Like those guys have scored multiple goals. Adam Gaudette's on that fourth line with. He's playing 10.5 minutes, 17 goals, I believe, and most of those are even strength. So they have some guys too, but I think Toronto has the structure, they have the system, but the depth is throughout the lineup, and that's not just throughout the forward lineup. It's on the back end, it's in between the pipes, and they're top end heavy with their offense. So it's going to prove, I think, a little bit too difficult. I believe Ottawa is going to have career playoff performances by Stützle, a hat trick there. Kachuk's going to have to beat up 7 people in Carlton the Bear to really impose his will as well. So I think it's going to be a good series. I don't think it's going to be a sweep, but I think Toronto, there's not that sense of where 3-4 weeks ago that could have been the case. They've answered a lot of those questions on how they can play and if they can play that playoff style game, and they've rebounded from whatever adversity they've had the entire season.
Tonight's Coach's Comment is powered by your Ontario Honda dealers. Power meets play with the all-electric Honda Prologue SUV, available now at your Ontario Honda dealer. And here's Coach Berube, first asked about the Martin Matthews milestones.
We had some guys, obviously this year that have did some great things individually. Willie 45 goals, Mitch 100 points, Austin's 400 goal. We can go down the line. JT. Almost getting 40 goals. I mean, we had a lot of guys individually do some real good things, but the team played a real good, strong, team game throughout the season, in my opinion, defending and doing the little things right and playing for each other. And, fortunately, we were, in the position to win the division.
Do you think getting 100 points can do anything for Mitch come playoff time?
Well, I mean, he's played really good hockey this year. I mean, so I don't know why he would end going into the playoffs. Like, I don't know. The season is a season, and now there's another one that's starting up. He's just got to keep doing what he's doing. He's done a great job of doing things for us the right way throughout the year. Penalty killing, power play, 5-on-5, along with everybody else. So, we just we got one more game, and then we'll get dialed in for playoffs.
Stolarz is crediting his teammates a lot when he's played this year, but what do you see in Anthony himself?
I've seen it for a bit now, where he's just very calm in net. Like I talk about reading the play, tracking the puck and things like that. Just like in that 6-on-5, at the end they had some opportunities, but he did a good job of tracking the puck and getting in position. He's a big guy, so he's capable of getting in position. There's not a lot of room there, so he's played big in net for me, and he's done both goalies have done a great job for us all year.
What stands out most about Battle of Ontario in the playoffs? What stands out most about facing the Sens in the first round?
Well, they're a good team. They obviously have made a push this year to be where they're at. Like I said, they got a core group of young players that have been together for a while, and they've gotten over that hump and made the playoffs. And they're a very good team. The goaltender Elmark has gotten there, and he's a solid goalie, big guy in net. So they're a very good team.
So now it's on to the Battle of Ontario. Stu, thanks very much. Appreciate it.
We'll talk soon. Thank you.
Yes, guy. This is Leafs Game Night on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
You've been listening to NHL Play-by-Play on SiriusXM. Head over to SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, for the best hockey talk.
Utah on Internet, 947. 9 p.m., Calgary Flames take on the Vegas Golden Knights. Flames on Sirius and XM channels 167, Internet 923. Knights on Internet, 949. 10:30 p.m., Seattle Kraken take on the LA Kings. Kraken on Sirius and XM Channels 91 Internet 943, Kings on Internet 932. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Tuesday, April the 15th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Boston Bruins take on the New Jersey Devils. Bruins on XM 219 Internet 921, Devils on Internet 936. 7 p.m., Buffalo Sabres face the Toronto Maple Leafs. Sabres on XM 220 Internet 922, Maple Leafs on Internet 946. 7 p.m., Ottawa Senators take on the Chicago Blackhawks. Sens on XM 221 Internet 939, Blackhawks on Internet 925.
The PGA Tour comes to life on SiriusXM. It's your destination for everything on the tour. Hear live hole-by-hole coverage and expert analysis. PGA Tour Radio, SiriusXM 92.
Hockey Hall of Famer and Stanley Cup champion for the Edmonton Oilers and New York Rangers, Mark Messier joined Scott Laughlin on the morning skate for SiriusXM NHL Network Radio on Channel 91 to discuss the pressures of Game 7 after having played in 9 Game 7s himself, winning 7 of them, and how you can either thrive under pressure or crumble underneath it.
I must look at Game 7s, Mark, like I do overtime in the Stanley Cup playoffs or overtime in any sporting event where you've got so much pressure on you and every play gets magnified. Could you, during the course of your career, and you don't have to name names, but could you look around the dressing room or could you look on the opposing bench and could you figure out those that wanted to be the hero and those that just wanted to avoid making the mistake? I mean, was that plain for you to see that there were those that wanted the puck on their stick with the game on the line that could thrive under pressure, and then you had the opposite as well?
I felt myself in those moments there defaulting to the more defensive side of the game. And then I played with my right winger who I won 6 Stanley Cups with, Glenn Anderson. He was the kind of guy that was trying to, really drive hard offensively and take the game and try to score the winning goal. And we're on the same line. Maybe that the difference of us in our mentalities work perfectly. But everybody's wired different. Everybody's got fear, failure. The best have that, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay to internalize those feelings, but you can't let them paralyze you. And it's for me, going into a Game 7, I allowed myself to visualize what if we didn't win, leading up to the game, and then slowly as you get closer to the game, you allow yourself to kind of push the negative feelings aside, and you start to fill yourself up with all the great things that are going to happen and what you need to do to execute the game plan, and of course ultimately to seeing yourself holding the trophy. And as a game starts, all the negative and the positive go away, and then you drill yourself down into just executing the game plan, and you don't think about the what ifs and what should have been or what could have been. You just really kind of play in the moment. And I think trust becomes a massive word when you think about it. Can I trust each one of the players that are going out there to not only to do their part from a strategic standpoint, be in the right position, be in the right places at the right time, but not get undisciplined and take poor penalties at the wrong time because their ego is bruised and someone took advantage of them, and being able to hold all that in check. So there's just so many dynamics to think about for a team in order to overcome all the obstacles to win a championship. And it's fascinating to me. It's one of the reasons I was able to play 26 years, because once you do it, you understand how fun it is, but also how complicated and intricate it is to kind of get not only the team from a physical standpoint to come together, but how a team comes together emotionally, mentally, and the spirituality around a team, and the respect that lives inside that locker room is incredible.
SiriusXM has soccer covered end to end. SiriusXM FC. Hear live play-by-play and talk shows hosted by legends of the game. It's SiriusXM FC on Channel 157.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Tuesday, April the 15th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Boston Bruins take on the New Jersey Devils. Bruins on XM 219 Internet 921, Devils on Internet 936. 7 p.m., Buffalo Sabres face the Toronto